Hey y'all. Hey, thank you guys for popping in. Happy Friday. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Too Persuasive, your host, and today we are interviewing Burger, the comedian. David Burger is in the background waiting to be popped in. What's up, Burger?
What's up? How you doing? So
I'm
glad to be on
good.
your show.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. Yeah, well,
It's a
that kind
pleasure
of
to see you.
wonderful. It's that kind of wonderful where there's mad pain behind it, disaster and chaos. But you're like, oh, Hollywood, wonderful. Yeah, doing
Yeah, that makes
team.
sense to me.
Yeah,
Nice,
Um,
nice
how
to
are
see you.
you?
So I'm gonna ask you one thing. When we start, let's start from the beginning. I want to know the beginning of burgers. So give me you. Where were you born? What year were you born in? What state?
I was born in 1969,
Mm-hmm.
November, and I was born in California in North Hollywood on a street called Hines Street.
Okay.
It was like the poor area, so to speak, if there was one in the valley at the time,
Okay.
because this was back in 1969. So there wasn't there wasn't like the projects, there wasn't this back then. The valley was like a suburban area, but this was like for the people trying to get their first house kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my dad worked for U.S. Tobacco and also sold wigs, traveling salesman back then.
Okay.
And so he would be gone all the time, and I only lived there till I was 5.
Wow.
Yeah, my best memories are Jennifer Dime, who was the neighbor who I had a crush on.
Shout out to
And then,
Jennifer.
yeah, right. I don't even, who knows at this point who's alive, but but if she's even somewhat alive, we could still hook Jennifer. No, but and so I remember that, and I remember peeing in the air in the backyard. Why, I don't know. Um, and that's about all I remembered from there. We then moved to Granada Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice house, like big 2-story house up in top of Balboa. My mom and dad became like the great parents, like they coached us. We had sleepovers all the time, big birthdays, Christmas, insane. I wrote a movie called Pacoima, but one of the Christmas I remember best was our Christmas was we would make plans on how to make a path from the stairway through the presents to the stocking.
Okay.
And we would get so many presents because my parents grew up, both their parents died young, or both their dads died really when they were really young. So they grew up pretty poor. And so my dad started a company importing tools. And so he was making good money. And that's how we moved to Granada Hills. And so, or actually, he was working for a company selling tools, making good money. We moved to Granada Hills. We bought a 2-story house back then for $50,000. I mean, it's probably $1 million something now. And so then he started his own tool company, and then he was making really good money. So he was the commissioner of the soccer league. They were our coaches. He was my Indian guides instructor. My mom dropped dead gorgeous. My dad was like 6'2", big Brooklyn Jew, big nose, the blue eyes. My mom was a dark Jew, like a Sephardic Jew. And so I'm like 45%, or a little more than that. I'm 99% European Jewish, or a mix of European Sephardic. I'm 1% European Russian. Um, and so anyway, so we moved to Granada Hills. I remember a Christmas where, we were grow to expect this, all the presents and everything.
Right.
And my older sister was bitching because she got either Jordache instead of Sassoon, or Sassoon instead of Jordache, and she was pissed. My dad loses us.
Oh
Just
no.
loses it. Yeah, he loses it. He's just pissed. He's like, you know what? This is ridiculous. Come on, everybody, we're going for a ride. So we hop in his Jew canoe, with a Cadillac. He had a big Cadillac Eldorado, a blue one. And so we hop in the Cadillac,
Uh-huh.
and we head to this place that's getting really kind of ugly. And we're kind of like, where are we going, Dad? So he takes us to this mission church. I don't know where we were, but there was this huge picture of the Virgin Mary painted on the front of the church,
Oh, they
with
had
this whole
music in
background to it. The what?
It had to be beautiful, like a big mural.
Well, yeah, except the area was absolutely scary as hell. I'd never been anywhere like this. And like there were like people on the streets and this and that. And I'd never seen that, being in Granada Hills. So I'm around like, maybe we're like 10 years old at the time. And so he took us, made us walk out, go around everybody, go be part of the church services thing, even though we're Jewish. But he took us there because he wanted us to see how other people lived.
Okay.
It meant nothing to us, to be honest, at the time, because whatever. Okay, can we get like, Dad, can we leave?
Too young.
Like, can we just go?
And so finally, really grasp the concept
at all, and so we wanted to get back to our presents. We didn't know what the hell was going on. Obviously, my sister said something that pissed him off, and whatever. He was 6'2", 350, but was never scary to us. He was scary to other, never to us though. He was never abusive, never anything. And so we were just like, whatever, can we go? And so fine, we go back. Everything goes on. Anyway, a couple years later, I'm coming home from school. The house is roped off. Police tape. Mm-hmm. So FBI, IRS is there. They're after him for racketeering, tax evasion. He's taken off. He's gone. He's in the wind. Now, my mom's got to figure out, once they settle everything and let us back in the house, now my mom's got to figure out how she's going to pay for this house. Because he'd already now mortgaged it, done all this stuff. They were seizing the house. There was no way we could keep it. So they're taking the house, all this stuff. We have like a couple months to get out. My mom all of a sudden is going on welfare. And I like that. Thank you, Sean. And so anyway, so my mom is on welfare, and we'd never, that was back when they were the stamps, and we'd never been on anything. She was so, embarrassed and everything. Well, my dad's gone. They get a divorce. We moved to a place in Van Nuys. Oh, and we're only there for a minute. My mom hooks up with this guy because she was dating different guys, but then she hooks up with this one guy who was absolute white trash, total like racist, chauvinist, and like we're all Jewish. My whole family is pure, all the way back, everyone. And we're, like I say, we're a mix of African and European Jews. We've never been around people that were racist, chauvinist, things like that. My dad never ever was anything. He never even thought to care. Everyone should just be. And we grew up like around different people because of my dad. He was friends with all, so many different people. We just never thought anything. So we never were brought up with any type of, anything ever going on. And it was, because of my dad. Well, my mom, again, my mom did her best. And it took, I didn't talk to my mom for 15 years. Yeah, we just started talking again.
He was born in 1969. Sorry if you didn't miss it at the
beginning. Yeah. Oh, cool. Good year. And so I do have a younger brother in Texas, and I have a son who's gorgeous and 19. But anyway, so we're moving, we're Van Nuys, then all of a sudden we're in Pacoima. Mm-hmm. I'm walking home one day from school. First, like the first days I get there. First day I get there, I take the bus, I get robbed by two adults with a knife, take my necklace. I'm scared to death. I'd never been involved in anything like this. Like I was a rough kid in Granada Hills. I was like trouble. I'd say cuss words. Yeah, I'd say cuss words.
Hard until they get to this life.
Oh, and then it was like, whoa, I shit my pants. Like I was like so scared I couldn't even talk. And they just took my necklace. Oh, I was, they were grown men. And so anyway, that happens. I go home. Then the next day I'm coming home the other way. And I'm walking and I look over and I stop and I go, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. There's the picture of the fucking Virgin Mary and the church my dad took us to try to make a point, like appreciate life, because you don't have to live like this. I'm living a few blocks from this church now. Oh, and I was just like, whoa. I was just like, that's a trip.
That'll throw you back.
Oh, it was a trip seeing that. I was like, oh my God, I remember this. Like I even remembered the freeway off ramp because it was weird. It circled around. And I was like, oh my God, I live here now. And so life kind of got crazy from there on because the choice was either stay inside a lot or not, or fight, and I took to fighting, and and so I got in all kinds of trouble. I got kicked out of school. I originally dropped out of 8th grade. I was on my own at 14. But like I say, my mom, who again I realize now was doing the best she could, and I've forgiven her for everything. But her piece of shit husband was such total white trash. Like he would get hammered drunk. He'd get us stoned and then tell her on us. Yeah, I mean, he used to have a shirt that said "Mustache Rides 5 cents."
Oh,
Wore it all the time.
He's a dime dropper, and he started it.
Oh, he was
I like
he
that.
was total, and total racist, total chauvinist, referred to women as chicks or broads. And so me and him used to fight because he would start yelling at my mom, push my mom, stuff like that. And so I'd fight him, but I was like 12 and tiny. Well,
this is the beginning, because we all know, you and I both know as well as comedians, that comedy starts from pain.
Oh, always.
And the root is far back from when you're young.
And stepdads are the greatest help in painful comedy, I think, throughout the nation. Stepdads have made more comics.
And them and stepmothers too.
Yeah,
and credit.
Well, and see, I had a stepmother who I actually really liked. We got along fantastic. She wasn't even that much older than me. But she was like really pretty, really cool. She was a super person. When my dad died, which I'll get to, is she disappeared real quick. So no, she didn't do it. She disappeared for her safety, apparently. So the deal is, so this guy, is just always like starting fights with me. So then my dad, what he would do is he would move around and do these different like hustles now, because he was wanted. So he would do hustles and make like quick, big money doing different things. Like he'd multi-rent houses. Like he'd rent a house, like a mini mansion. Then he'd rent it for a really good price, like 30 times for a month or two from then. By the time the people show up, we're gone. We're into another state or whatever. And he's walking with like, $50,000 to $100,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, and this is back in the 80s. And so, so he was always.
That's a lot of good money for that time.
I mean, he would buy a boat, he'd buy this, he'd buy that, but then we'd be staying in motels, trailer parks, to make sure nobody knew he was there. When nobody knew he was there, then we'd get a house, and then he'd run some sort of scam, whether it be like a sales scam or something like that. Again, his dad died when he was young. His mom was poor. Him and his twin brother had to hustle like crazy just to make ends meet. And so it's not an excuse, but they were a product of their life. Yeah. And, and he learned to hustle. He went to Fairfax High School, but was poor. But because my grandma wanted him to go to a school where a lot of Jewish people were back in the 50s, well, he went there with all these rich people, like famous people now. And so he found they were, they were like, yeah, now it's crazy. I mean, but back then, it was like the tops, and this and that, and she wanted to go there, all this stuff. So anyway, so my dad, I would stay with him. I'd come back with my mom's. Then I was on my own. At 14, I lived on Vineland in Ventura. The apartments they tore down to build those nice ones now. Yeah. I lived in those. They were all singles. And it was funny.
They were all singles. I used to think that place looked itty bitty. The doors were small. I thought
you're talking about the old blue one, right?
Yeah.
The one was blue and peach, and it was like 2-story.
Ventura.
Yeah. So okay.
They had little tiny doors.
And it was like I had a friend of mine who was 18 rent the place for me. Mm-hmm. I was doing telemarketing on Van Nuys and Victory in the mornings. Like I do a morning shift every morning of telemarketing, selling ribbon and toner. And so that, I worked different jobs all the time, but, it was always telemarketing type jobs, because that's who would hire young people, like people underage. Okay. And they just pay you cash every day. And so he rented me the place.
Under the table gig.
Yeah, and back then it was easy.
They were doing child labor.
All the time. It wasn't even frowned upon, really. It was like, yeah, whatever. At least he's working, And so, but anyway, 18-year-old buddy of mine rented it, but I couldn't get electricity or anything put on. So I just had the single, no electricity or anything. And it was just like I was asleep on the floor. I had no furniture, but I had no place to live except there. And I mean, you can only imagine how cheap it was back then.
Yeah.
So that goes on. Anyway, my dad, so I found him. I say he killed himself. He just bought a house. There's no real reason why he would have killed himself. And my stepmom swears, and my uncle at the time said, no, he was made to do it or killed. But he didn't kill himself. He had no reason. I don't know. I found him. To me, it looked like he killed himself. I don't know why he would have, or whatever, but I was 16-ish at the time. And
I know that was a long time ago, and I'm sorry you had to find him like that. I'm sorry about that.
It was wild because he had shot himself through his head. So yeah, and he was like my best friend in the world. Like he was the person who, my dad made me know I was safe in this world because I had him. When he was gone, like I had no one, and ever since I've never really had anyone where I felt like that. You know what I'm saying? Where I felt safe. And so anyway, my mom's husband was just, went on being a bigger scumbag. Like he pulled his, pardon if I could say, can I say penis or dick? Okay, so he pulled his dick out at my sister's birthday party. That's who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever. So we went through all that with him. And like I say, I have forgiven my mom and everything because I understand with everything she dealt with in life and everything else, as beautiful as she was, as many guys actually liked her, she had no self-confidence or anything. I didn't realize all this till much, much later. I mean, again, with my kids, if someone said boo to them, they were gone. Like that quick. But she didn't have that type of confidence, and she didn't fail on us. She made bad choices with who she was with. She made bad choices many times in life, like, throughout that time after that, because we went from a perfect life, like unbelievably Beavers, the Leave It to Beaver life.
Oh, you were the Beavers.
Oh yeah,
I love
this drunk guy, to this drunk white trash guy, and just causing chaos all the time, and just this nightmare life we'd never been a part of. All of a sudden, everything in our life was, even our relatives stopped coming over for holidays because of him. And we used to have like big Christmases. All the Jewish people in my family, they didn't want to be around him because he was just an ass. Like everyone couldn't stand it.
I'm gonna reply to that comment that I deleted.
Oh, what was it? I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
No, I got rid of it real quick. I'm gonna reply to that comment. I don't know where my moderator is. There we go. We got a suspicious link in the chat. Now listen, guys, I do not pay my guests. They're like, how much did you pay Burger to be here? I do not pay my guests. No. It was hard for me to get this interview. I'm very much so honored because I ain't got no money to pay my damn guest.
You would never need to pay me.
He's a beautiful spirit, and I've been in talks with agents and managers since midnight last night, all morning, all day. I did this. I didn't pay for nothing, y'all.
When they say the word queen, you are a true queen, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you,
honestly.
Burger.
You are definitely a leader. You're such a strong human. And yeah, no, I'm thrilled you asked me, and thank you. And I love the show. So okay, so I'm doing whatever. He's the piece of blah blah. We go back and forth. I'm kicked out. I'm living there. I'm living here. Then my dad's gone. Then I'm just out on my own. And I'm trying to figure things out. I'm a high school dropout. All this stuff. I'm working at Coco's, and on my last day at Coco's, my first wife asks me out. And so we ended up going out and ended up getting married. But so I was married to her from that point on. Well, she was brilliant, like just absolutely a together, incredibly intelligent person, real good person, never did drugs, never, nothing, just really good. I mean, she had her own issues in life or whatever with her parents, but her parents are still married. I mean, they're married like 60 years now, I think, or 50 years, something like crazy, right?
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And her mom's fantastic. Her dad, her mom, fantastic. And she has a big family. So anyway, so I have this big family now, and all this stuff. So whatever, I don't care that I'm not talking to my mom and stuff like that because of her husband and whatever. And so I'm going through all this, and we're together. I'm huge by this time. I started working out after my dad was gone, and I went from being like 112 pounds to 206 pounds. And so I was like work out all the time, and I would work at a place called Imperial Health Spa on Woodman and Chase. And it was basically cops, gang members, and drug dealers. And what I did was I would bring steroids. I would go down to Mexico and get steroids. Well, I never did that, but hypothetically, I would go down to Mexico and bring steroids back when you could get them for like $25 there, sell them here, the same bottle for $2.50.
Damn.
And then I was, because you know how everybody you talk to, they're like, yeah, I used to deal kilos, boatloads. Like I used to literally sell to Noriega, man.
Yeah.
And you're like, really? Because we're hanging out at the bus stop, bro. I don't think, like, even if a lot of things went wrong, we wouldn't both be at the bus stop if that was your previous life. Like, I dealt the smallest amounts of cocaine and rock ever, and I sucked. I was the worst drug dealer ever.
Me too.
I wouldn't beat people up. I'd try and like Jewish guilt them into pain. Because I didn't want to be like that. Like, come on, man. Like, how am I going to get more stuff?
That's hilarious.
This is horrible, you know? I mean, what are you doing to me? What am I going to do? I can't even tithe. This is horrible, you know? And, sometimes, it worked. But I was just talking to an old friend of mine. He's like, yeah, you were like the worst drug dealer ever. I go, I know. I sucked at it because that wasn't in my heart at all. But steroids, where you were dealing with different people that, they just, you pay them, it was real quick, easy, and this and that. And so I was, I would do that shit, working out all the time. I have a half brother and a half sister now. My half brother's like 5. I was always in his life. Yeah. I mean, we were always together. This was back then.
Yeah.
And then my half sister was like 2.5 at the time. And so I had taken my brother, or we were hanging out all day. I had given him a step haircut. Remember the old step haircut?
Yeah.
So he wanted one, so I gave it to him. I shaved the back, did the whole thing. Anyhow, I take him because my mom had then started a business with this guy, because her husband's dad, who was cool as hell, this guy, Ed Scourin, owns like a ton of Arrowhead.
Okay.
He's got money, right? And but his son is just like a trash dude. And like his dad and him didn't ever get along. And so anyway, I love his dad. His dad's like the coolest step grandfather ever, right? And so, anyway, my mom and him started a mailing business, and it was doing well. So anyway, they had a place off of Bel Air and Sherman Way.
Okay.
A business over there. Yeah, and so by the Carl's Jr. and everything, what used to be like Ralph's or something, it's now a Home Depot.
Remember, I used to dance at burlesque, so I pretty much know all up and down Sherman Way.
And like Venus Fair and stuff. My sister danced at Venus Fair. Got to make money, right? I mean, money's money. But yeah, and then I used to go to that Star Gardens, and I've done shows at a bunch of those places.
That's a Matchbox Club.
Oh, they were. And so I'd go with friends. Like my friends always wanted to, go. I ended up doing a lot of shows at strip clubs, which were a blast.
Mm-hmm.
But so anyway, I take my brother to their business. Lunch truck's there. He goes to find his dad because they're going to a Dodger game. So his dad starts screaming at him and telling him, like, you look stupid. You look like an idiot. No, I'm not taking you to the game like that. And just starts yelling at him and telling him he's an embarrassment. My brother's 5 at the time. I'm like 23, maybe 22, right around there. 22, 23. And I could have beat him up at any time, but I would just laugh at him and make fun of him at this point. And so anyway, but he went off on my little brother, and he was always a bully, and he always tried to be abusive, but he went off on my little brother. And then he comes up to me and he's like, I went up to him and I go, hey man, why would you yell at him? He's a 5-year-old kid. Right. I go, I cut his hair. If you got a problem, talk to me. He's like, fuck you, you psycho. You're an idiot. And this. And I go, hey. Fuck you, you idiot. Go, you white trash piece of shit. You fucking garbage fuck. Fuck you. And this and that. So he goes to swing at me with this stupid. And so I just step back. Bam. And
wait, do it again, Burger. I want to see what his swing looked like.
And, he couldn't fight. He's one of those racist ass bullies. You know how you see him talking shit and then somebody just straight punches them? And they're just like, ah! So I broke his eye socket or just look at his eye socket, broke his cheekbone right here and ripped it open across here. Now, at the time, I was boxing at Brothers Gym. I was like huge. All I did was
training.
I was like
and fucking with the steroids.
I was, you know what? I was like a prick, you know, but I wasn't. But the one thing I wasn't is I wasn't a chauvinist. I wasn't a racist. Never been a homophobe. Nothing like that. You know, like I've just never been in my life. So when my mom brought this guy in, we were all like, what the? Because my dad was never.
I couldn't see you being a prick. My first time at these show, you were so nice to me. Pulled me to the side. It was like, nervous is normal. Just go up there and do what you do.
Yeah, you know, I mean, well, what I'll tell you is like I always stuck, not that you weren't an underdog. You're freaking hysterical. But I've always, you know, I do a bit now and I say what I am, I realized is I'm a narcissistic, empathetic with anger issues. Like, I want to help you because I want to look good. And if you don't want my help, I'll fucking kill you. And it's like I realize that I'm a narcissist, I'm a narcissist empath with anger issues. You know, and you know, I've gotten to a way better place now. But back then, that's what I was. I'd stick up for anybody who was the underdog. If people were sticking on someone for any reason, I'd jump in. I'd have something to say. You know, things like that. I was always involved in everything. You know, but at the same time, if you came at me or said something to me, I would destroy you verbally from the inside. But then if you were ready to fight, I was always ready to fight back then. And it was stupid. I mean, granted, I'm not bragging at all about this. This is something I'm super proud I changed in me.
Right.
But so anyway, yeah, so I beat it. Now, after I hit him, he was like on the ground screaming. There was blood everywhere. He's like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I know. You know what it is? It's a white trash. The guy said, what kind of punch is that? Yeah, it's a white trash, bigoted, bully chauvinist because they're never tough. And I would say, you know, it's because he had a little dick, but he's pulled his dick out so many times, it's huge. I mean, it wasn't, you know, I can't even call him
I can't.
He had no reason to be mad. He had no reason to be mad. You know, he had a big dick. What? Calm down, bro. Like, why are you so unhappy, man? But, you know, apparently his dad used to beat the shit out of him. And his mom was a total alcoholic, like whack. And so, you know, he had his upbringing, but not my problem. You know, it wasn't my dad or anything. It wasn't my blood. And so anyway, yeah. So after that, he never said shit, never touched my mom again, never did anything again. But it created so much chaos and my family was like being neutral and that really pissed me off. And then they did something to really piss off my wife at the time. And so I just stopped talking to all of them eventually, which I regret because we all are who we are.
Right.
You know, and we're fallible. And I always saw myself as the kind of person who sticks up for everyone who does it. I didn't see myself as the guy who does that when I choose to, and I'm a dick when I choose to. I didn't look at it that way.
I'm going to talk my avatar on for a second. Just talk my avatar. I'm right here. So
I never saw it like that. What I saw was that my good balanced out my bad. My good made up for all my no. And a therapist, a really good therapist I have right now, woke me up to that. He goes, no, they're two separate things. The bad stuff you do is bad stuff. The good stuff you do is good stuff. Neither washes or balances each other. If you want to be a good person, stop doing the bad stuff. But you can't balance. And I thought that's brilliant. Yeah, no, you're right. Mm-hmm. It doesn't balance. If I'm acting like an asshole here or doing this shit here, just because I help a ton of kids or I've helped a lot of comics, or I've done this, it doesn't make it okay for me to do the anger stuff or the.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct about that.
And it took forever for me to learn that, but thank God I did. And so I realized that. And so, you know, with my first ex-wife, I basically made her crazy. Like, not made her crazy, but like I want to say, I want to be very honest for any guys out there that are young and in this situation. Stop and really look, because I was like, I've never hit a woman. Okay. I've never woke up in the morning and been like, fuck you, you are a piece of shit, or come home from work angry and took it out on my kids or my wife. I've never done that. I never shit talked my wife to my friends. And I looked at it that way, right? So yeah, she would piss me off because she wasn't getting me or this or that. She wasn't helping me enough. And so I would tell her how I'm not happy. I don't want to be married. I think I just want to leave all the fucking time. And she was absolutely a great wife. She was a good partner. I just was looking for a wife, a best friend, a mom, a dad, and siblings. And that, you know what I'm saying? I was looking for her to be all that. And I was just going to be the speak up and stick up for you and be there for you kind of person. But I wasn't going to fix everything about me. And those things weren't even wrong with her. They were my problems and my issues that I needed that.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it took me a long time, and I've apologized to her profusely. Even when we got divorced, we were always civil. When my kids would have like awards, soccer games, baseball games, football games, all the different stuff, we always sat together.
I should have grabbed some pictures of your beautiful family. Burger has a beautiful family, y'all. And
well, now it's just me and my three kids.
Thing, but Burger loves black women. His kids are black.
My youngest daughter is. My older two, here, I'll do this.
Mr. Kyle said projection. Welcome, Mr. Kyle. I got you, girl.
What a pretty face.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, obviously super young, but so, remember I was saying how big I was?
Woo!
That's my first wife. Now that's my first wife right there. We were at Disneyland.
I ain't fighting that dude.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I got huge. Now I'm like,
trip you.
I literally look like I look like the recovering version of my old self. Like I just like, I some people get mad, whatever. The joke was I said I look like the AIDS version of my old self. Like I know I don't, I know, but I'm a comic, it's like a comic's mind.
You are a comedian. That's who you are. That's what you do. That's what you're great at. For people who don't recognize Burger because he's a haircut, yes, it's the same Burger with the long two ponytails.
Oh yeah. I cut my braids. You know why I cut my braids originally? For my son for his graduation because he hated them the whole time. Hated the braids. So I cut them for his graduation. Then they didn't even walk because the pandemic.
But you look great. I like your haircut.
Oh, thank you. This I did the other night because I was looking like Justin Bieber's grandfather because my hair was like insane.
Not the granddaddy though.
Yeah, no, I was like his real dad or whatever. And I'm just trying to find a picture of the whole family. My older two have been in college. So my first two are Greek and Jewish. My youngest daughter is Haitian and Jewish. And so she's let me find them.
Shadow Knight says, I can relate to this. I have 5 kids and a nephew that you're raising. You technically got 6.
I love this picture of my youngest.
Look at it. Oh, how beautiful. Look at all that hair.
She's cut that. Well,
she is so big now. Last time I saw her, she was baby.
She is
in a long time now.
She is so cool. She's an artist, like unbelievable. Well, here, this is.
Look at that.
My son's 19, and then my youngest is 12. Because Zach, Josie, and Johnny. My youngest daughter is beautiful. My oldest daughter's Joe. And so yeah, so. My first wife was Greek. My second wife was Haitian. My first wife, like I say, all three of us.
Haiti women are no joke.
Let me tell you. You know what was funny? My grandma, who was my life, my grandma Elizabeth, my grandma Romula and my grandma Elizabeth, both great. My grandma Elizabeth was the greatest grandma of all time. She was super grandma, Yahtzee, bowling, trips, walks, everything, making food, you name it. She was just the best ever. Taught us how to play poker.
I've had 2 of those. Both of my grandmothers are like that.
And she tells me one time, she was Jewish, like a European Jewish, with Romanian. And so she tells me one time, she was like, David, David, can I ask you a question? She goes, do you at least know any white girls? And she didn't even mean it bad, but because they wanted me to date a Jewish girl, I didn't. It wasn't against them. We lived in Pacoima. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're going to date the women you're around. And so she said that she goes, David, because my girlfriends were always like either Latin or black. But again, you know, it's like my second ex said to me one time, she goes, well, do you have a thing for black women? I go, no, I have a thing for women. I don't care the color, shape, size, whatever they come in.
Anything. You just fall in love with who you fall in love with.
Who I fall in love with, I go, now, do I have a type of woman that kind of like in each race that does do it for me? Yeah, and it's kind of weird. Like I like white trashy women. I like cholas. Like my huge turn on is the white trash girl with the Vans, the jeans on and a flannel, right? Hair just straight, no makeup, but looks like, and always looks kind of mad, you know, and always looks like Sissy Spacek when she's playing a really in Coal Miner's Daughter, you know, like that's my, you know, only trashier or more trailer parky. You know, with Latin women, I like cholas. I used to date a girl, Gabby, who wore the black eyeliner like under her eyes.
You up, Burger.
They will. That's why I say I've never hit a woman. I've been hit a few times. My dad came back from the dead. If I ever hit a woman, my dad would come back from the dead. And
damn cholas.
My dad was like,
your ass. And you look up, you got 18 brothers, 20 cousins. Everybody would heat outside on a lowrider.
Right?
After she'd have whooped your ass.
I went out with a girl who was Colombian, and I brought her back really late because we got caught up at Chatsworth Mountains, and she was drunk. And so I brought her back. She's like throwing up. Her Colombian mom and everything are flipping out. I take her in the house and I just leave, right? Because they're yelling at me. So I just bail. I fucking, and I'll go back to the, so real quick, with black women, I like the black women with the huge hoop earrings, flip-flops, jeans, and a small shirt.
Hey.
I mean, I love that. It was always, you know, it was, I mean, but it's who I grew up around, and, you know, and that's why I say, yeah. I mean,
wait, hold on, like, I got to do my hoochie mama dance. You didn't tell me you had a crush on me.
You know,
crush on me?
Well, you're beautiful, and but now my second ex-wife was 6 feet tall, 125 pounds with long dreads. So, but she was gorgeous to me. It's just I told her, you know, you're not my type of black woman that I'm generally attracted to, but you're obviously, you know, you're gorgeous, you know.
Oh,
so I dropped the girl off. Her mom and grandma are yelling at me in Spanish. You know, I speak Spanish. I understand what they're saying, but they're Colombian, so I'm missing a bunch of words. And so then I get home. The next day, her mom calls me up and she's like, you know what, you fucked up and all this stuff and all, you know what you know what we are, you know we're Colombian and you know what that means. And I go, lady, you know, I'm Jewish and you know what that means. You're lucky I don't make you pay me back for the beer your daughter drank. My sisters and my mom look at me and they go, what the fuck are you doing? So yeah, my mom gets on the phone. My mom's like, bitch, if you come anywhere near my kid, and this and that, and then nothing ever happened. They ended up shipping the poor girl back to Colombia. And, you know, I knew her from school and I ran into her years later. She was not all happy with me. And I'm like, look, I told you not to drink. You know, what's funny is we were messing around, quick side story. And guys, remember this, we were messing around and we were going to do something. And I'm like, wait a second, are you a virgin? And she goes, yeah. And she was drunk as shit. And I go, okay, we're done. And that's when I was going to take her home and we couldn't get down. I'm not perfect, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I've been in trains, gangbangs, and everything else. I used to go to undergrounds. We used to go to the original raves down in LA. Okay. So I've even told my kids, like, if someone shows up being like, "Hey, you're my dad," probably. I never ditched. Like, I've never hid from a kid. I've never denied a kid. I've never denied a kid or anything. I've had a girl come up and say, you know, she might be my kid. We got tested and everything. I was kind of bummed because she wasn't. I was going to be like an instant grandfather. It wasn't even that long ago. Well, it's funny because my second ex was telling my daughter that I lied. I'm not Jewish. And I'm like, and then I had to get a DNA test because of the girl. And so we did it through a lab and through Ancestry just to have two of them. And it came back 99% Jewish. Like, I'm more Jewish than any Jew out there. There's like you only have 1% to be more of a Jew than me. And so it was, you know, hysterical. And so anyway, so going back to, so I had my type, you know, like even Asian girls, I like the angry ones that look like they'll rip your face off. you know, and that was just, I like strong, aggressive women. I always have.
This comment.
I always said I wasn't born with a big personality. It's funny. My ex, I shouldn't even say this. My ex, when she got mad at me, my second one, we had done a joking video back and forth, and she posted it on Pornhub. And yeah,
that's a crime.
Not cool. Yeah, it wasn't cool. I believe I've gotten it taken down, pretty sure. But yeah. So anyway,
does she know who you are? Like, people know you. That's whoa.
It wasn't well, especially I had my braids back then. And
wait a minute.
You know,
I remember because it was sent to me and I didn't watch it. And I was like, Burger, what the fuck? Remember, I messaged you like, what the fuck, Burger?
Yeah, not from me. Not to
it was some lady trying to message me and I was ignoring her, and then I got that shit in my inbox and I was like, what the fuck? She's like, who are you to him? I remember that shit now. That's when it was going around.
And what like a lot of people don't understand is a lot of the posts people got mad at was her also going on my Facebook when we were married. I didn't even know she was doing this. She would write posts because she didn't have a Facebook. She didn't want a Facebook. I would tell her all the time, get your own fucking media. She wrote one time, thank God I'm white, in response to a story about this. So whatever went on, I don't even know exactly what it was. And I go, why the fuck would she goes, it was just being funny. I go, that's not funny. I go, not at all funny. And I took it down, but it was like, oh my God. But a friend of mine had to tell me, bro, what the fuck are you doing? And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? There was a lot of things that I didn't even know about. I mean, like this is my second ex. Let me just say in her defense, she was a crack baby. Her mom took her on crack runs. Her dad was never part of her life. She was a hell of a lot younger than me. So I wasn't looking at the whole picture. I do a joke. I always say like my wife.
Second Facebook page because of her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had so many people that cut me off on different things. I thought it was because of me just calling out the political stuff that I thought, because I don't care. I don't believe any side. I don't think any politicians are good, period.
Well, them podcasts were a bomb. I used to watch that and call in sometimes, remember?
I was just issue by issue. So I didn't realize, I didn't realize what had been said about me by her, by other people had put out things that I'm a deadbeat dad when I had my kids full time. I mean, all these things went around. I never knew about them. I was banned in like multiple clubs because they were sent letters that I'm this person. And I'm like, oh my God, not even from her. This was when I was with her.
Blacklist Burger.
Oh, I got so shadow banned and everything. But again, it was people being mad about things because she was totally into George Norrie and conspiracies and all this stuff. And she would post this stuff and I never saw it because it didn't, I wasn't looking. I would post my podcast. I do my podcasts. I'd post. Yeah. I was just like the worst. And so anyway, yeah, I mean, she would do crazy stuff. It was really, you know what it is though? Again, like I say, if you're going to marry someone that much younger, the joke I did was I said, my wife's 18 years younger than me. It's weird now, picking her up from school. I go, but next year she starts driving. So that's over. But she was 21, I was 39. Yeah, she was 21, I was 39. We had 6 amazing years of marriage. I had my daughter. It was fantastic. We didn't plan to have kids. She said she didn't want kids. I wasn't planning on having any anymore. It was perfect. Turned out she could get pregnant. And which cool, because my daughter's beyond incredible. And so I'll never regret anything because I have my daughter. But
that is a beautiful little girl.
Oh yeah, but I mean, if I wouldn't have had my daughter, we'd have been divorced the first month. Like we got married after a month. But again, my doing. I was 39. I should have had a hell of a lot more sense. She was definitely a soulmate, but I even used to tell her, I go, "You're my soulmate," because she would tell me I'm her soulmate. I go, "You're my soulmate, but I don't know if you're a good soulmate."
But she said
That's good.
clothing.
Yeah, more like an itchy.
More like a dog in an itchy sweater.
And you know what though? I say it's my fault too though, because I could have recognized more she had serious issues. I could have been more understanding when she would lay around all day. But what ended up happening is she got into pills, and then I caught her with a glass meth pipe. Apparently, she was going to her 60-something-year-old mom's down in LA and taking my daughter. My daughter would be in the living room watching TV. They would be in her mom's bedroom smoking meth.
Uh-huh.
I did coke way back in the 90s. Like, I think me and a friend were talking, I think 94 at the earthquake, or 93. I was married in 94. 92 actually was the last time I ever did cocaine. I never did meth. I never ever it just wasn't something that was around us. We were in Pacoima. There was cocaine.
I'll give you a gift.
The what?
I'm telling Mystical to type something. I gave her a present because she's my friend.
Oh, nice.
She's my moderator sister in a different channel.
How cool. Yeah, and so, so like, I don't know. We ended up getting divorced. Like I say, my first wife, we got divorced. That was all my fault in every possible way. I did everything to make everything miserable and so much stress on her, and she didn't deserve it. Once we got divorced, she got mad as hell, because on top of which, I then went and messed around with a few of the people she worked with. Total dick move. We were divorced. But even during the marriage, she let me start messing around. So again, let me just say, I was a narcissistic dickhead. I always thought, because I never hit her, I never, screamed at her or anything. I always backed her up. I always had her back, always protected her. That doesn't make up for being a horrible asshole when I wanted to be an asshole, or when I was pissed, or I didn't want to work at a job anymore. And she had to work at it. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that. I was hustling all the time, doing, trying to figure out, do this, do that. And, I think my payback was my second wife, because she would lay around, drink, my daughter toward the end was like, Dad, can we just kick Mom out of here, please? And I'm like, baby, don't say that. But it was hard because, like, my ex would yell at my daughter for no reason. Quick, funny, weird, unfunny story. This girl, when I was first divorced, bought me a shark's tooth. She took me to Hawaii. She would come to my shows, and then she asked me if I wanted to go to Hawaii, and I was like, yeah, okay. So she took me to Hawaii. I was single at this time. She took me to Hawaii. We were there. She was saying she wanted to get this shark's tooth for her dad. And she's like, what do you think, this one or this one? Well, since she was paying for everything, I just picked the cheaper one because fuck her dad. So it was like $600-700. So it had a platinum thing on the top, and it was a prehistoric great white shark's tooth. Oh, and so she bought it, and she goes, actually, here, it's for you. I go, wow, thank you. Oh my God, thank you so much. Anyway, I didn't really wear jewelry much, or anything, or a shark's tooth on top of it. So it just sat in a drawer forever. Well, what was I going to say? My ex calls me at work. I was teaching. She calls me, and she goes, okay, when we were still married. And she goes, okay, let me tell you everything before you freak out on Johnny being my daughter. I go, okay, well, go on. What happened? She goes, okay, just stay calm. She goes, Johnny lost your shark's tooth. Oh. I go, okay, well, where? Why was she playing with my shark's tooth? She goes, well, I gave it to her to take to school for show and tell. Okay. I go, you just let her take it? She goes, no, I went to the show and tell. And she had the shark's tooth. But afterwards, I guess she was on the yard spinning it, and it flew away. And so she couldn't find it, and then, just went away. I go, but where were you? She goes, well, I had left. I go, and any reason you didn't take the shark's tooth? She's like, no, because she was saying, I've already yelled at Johnny. She's like, I already yelled at her and everything. I go, okay, first of all, fuck you for yelling at her. I go, you're a piece of shit. I go, how do you not hear in that story that you gave an 8-year-old a $700 shark's tooth, and then you yelled at her for losing it? I go, first of all, I don't give a shit about the shark's tooth to begin with.
Right.
But why wouldn't you have taken it home, and why are you blaming an 8-year-old for losing it. I go, that's insane. You yelled at her. Why would I be mad at her? She's 8. She's going to spin a shark's tooth. It means nothing to her. She's 8.
Right.
How would she know? Funny enough, this was this charter school where a bunch of rich people made a charter school so they could say their kids go to public school. A bunch of Hollywood people, right? And, oh, totally. Mystical, I love that.
Mystical entertainment.
That is fantastic. She's so dead on. Yeah, she totally like threw it on her instead of recognizing what she never recognized anything she did. But see, that's what I mean is my tongue was, oh my God, you're a piece of shit. I don't even think of that as anything but just because if someone said that to me, I would just be like, yeah, okay, well, obviously I shouldn't have fucking done that. And I get that.
Right.
Other people take it as I'm calling them, it's devastating to them. I've now realized that I probably could have used better wording, but why would you yell at her? So turned out somebody at the school found it and turned it in. So I got it back. I gave it to my son because again, it didn't mean anything.
That's great. So that you got it back, shoot.
Yeah. Oh, well, just the other day at Starbucks, some lady left an brand new Apple laptop thing. And I found it. And I'm like, and there's nobody's. And so I turned it in, but I was still there. And some lady was looking. I go, are you looking for your computer? She goes, yeah. I go, I turned it in a little while ago. It's in there. She came. I said, oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah. And because it was on Sunset, the Starbucks right there by Sunset and Fairfax.
You know how many people would have scooped that shit up and just walked away with it?
You know what? There might have been a time I would have too. And I just realized, you know what? First of all, you're bringing bad on yourself, but you're also wrecking someone else's moment, life, whatever is going on. Whatever they have on there, you're fucking them completely over. And I don't ever want to be a part of that. And like, I grew up hustling. I grew up manipulating everything. I've realized there's no life to live, and a while back, want nothing to do with that. I became a teacher. I love teaching.
Those were the funniest jokes. When you would talk about teaching, I would be cracking the fuck up. Those were
true stories exaggerated.
Comedy stage moments.
True story is exaggerated. They were exaggerated, some of them, but always true. Like the basis of the story, everything about it, true. I had the Shea Alana one where she grabbed the girl and, she's like, you mother, that all happened. She didn't pull her on top of the table. She just grabbed her and said it, and that's what I thought, like, wow, that was a good sentence. I didn't say that to her. I go, Shea, stop that. Like, let's talk, this and that. But I thought, that's a perfect sentence. Finally. But that's where, certain jokes came from that. There were teachers that were high all the time. That's where the thing is like, I would take the kid and I'm not even gonna lie. I would smoke. I would wake and bake, and so I'd be in there red eyed. Kids would be in there red eyed. And that's what I'd say is if a kid was stoned, I'd be like, I got a test. They're like, test. Yeah. I'd take them to the back mirror and be like, boom, if their eyes look like mine, busted, they're stoned. But yeah, so going back to it is, I was always, hustle, but I learned that's not how to be. It's better. No good deed goes unpunished. So what? I'd still rather just do good deeds. You do them to do them, not for
I'm not going to hustle anybody. I just work hard and I'm grinding. I grind, basically. I'm always doing something. I'm doing something. I'm hustling, but the different kind, just going. Even though all this mess going on with me, still grinding. I'm here with you. Got another interview Sunday night.
That's fantastic. Like I said, I love this whole setup of it. And, I'll tell you this is one of the things I learned is that was the thing is I was always trying to call people out for not being righteous. I was calling every comic out, every actor out. I was telling where they're from. I had to explain how they're related, show how they got in, show what they're doing, what they did to get in, and my podcast even, and then in real life. And I've had a couple people try and come up and be cool to me. And I'm like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. And that was me, like, you ain't shit, you're an asshole, fuck you, you're this and that. And, but like to famous people. I called a famous guy out for messing with young guys, not underage, but like 18-year-old comics. He would like hit on them and mess with them. He was married and everything else, real famous. I called him out publicly on stage. Boom, in a joke I made out of it. Everyone was laughing. The guy used to call me his favorite teacher. I had no reason to do that, man. But I just felt like I had to be Robin Hood when no one needed Robin Hood. I had to call out everyone. You know, I had to call out, you know, a lot of people I called out, I was right about, and it's shown. There's one, especially one guy I was calling out nonstop. Well, then he got called out for doing everything I said, and people would write me shit going, you're jealous. It wasn't about being jealous. It was what he was doing. But then I realized, why is it on me to call him out? There's people that call my life out. Like, I need to fix my own life and shut the fuck up about everyone. You know, I had Ian Edwards, if you remember, you know Ian Edwards? I had him literally stop me on, and I thought he was a douche for doing this. I now realize he was beyond a great human for trying to do this. And he saw what I wasn't seeing. And, you know, and so he'd already been on the Boondocks, he'd already been on different shows, and he liked me. He was always a great guy. And he stopped me on Franklin and Cahuenga by Solar de Cahuenga. And he stops me there, gets out of his car, comes up to me. He goes, Burger, he goes, you got to stop calling everyone out. You got to stop doing that, dude. He goes, you're fucking hysterical and you are killing your career. You're calling people out who could stop you from ever getting booked. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to call people out. And, there's somebody, other people told me the same thing. You know, a couple other people stepped up and went like, hey, bro. You know, other people would be like, oh, I love when you call them out. But when it was time to stand by me, nobody was, you know, they were like, these people came straight up to me. Ian Edwards was one of the biggest that was like, dude, stop it. You can have a great career and you're ruining it. And I did. I totally got myself, like I called all these people out and what I called them out on, I knew to be true.
Right.
So it wasn't rumors. I would go through exactly what went down. So I was destroying or bringing up something that could be destructive to them. Well, I just started getting shut down and my show went from like 15,000, 10,000 live views to like a few hundred and nobody was getting it and it wasn't being shown anywhere on feeds. It was being cut down and shut down and blocked all the time. Well, Shadow, you're right to a point. I shouldn't have been holding any of them responsible. What I should have been doing is honestly minding my own business unless they were hurting children or raping women. But see, I mean, I specifically, a woman asked me about a person. And I said, they're an absolute attacker. They're a total perv. They're only going to say they're going to help you because they want to get with you. The girl went back and told them I said that. So then the girl ended up still hanging out with them, the person, because they were on TV.
Right.
But ruined me with them when I was trying to protect this girl. I was like, don't bring me up. Don't, like, I'm telling you this, I've done shows. I've seen what this dude does.
Yeah.
He's horrible. And I told other women, and they just stayed away from him. But this one felt she needed to tell him what I said. And then I was cut off from working with him. I had other things where it was mostly me doing it, calling people out, this and that. And, it got me cut off. I mean, I got put on the wall by Mitzi in 2008. And then I felt necessary to go off on Pauly Shore. Well, I used to watch Pauly Shore back in like 87, 88, like in those times, 89. I used to go to the Comedy Store underage with a buddy and a fake ID.
I'm here.
I got you. And I would go to the Comedy Store with a fake ID. We used to see J.J. Walker, Skip Stevenson, Wild Willie Parsons, all the old timers. Richard Pryor would be there, Sam Kinison. All these people would, be in and out of there and this and that. And we used to go. I never even thought of being a comic. And all this stuff. And then so I started doing comedy there because my first ex-wife, when we got divorced, she's like, whatever, she goes, you need to do comedy. Here's this place, the Comedy Store. They have this open mic. You go, you sign up, and if you get picked, you get to go on. Well, first time I went, I got picked, and it went pretty good. Second time I went, I picked a number because you used to have to pick a number out of the bucket. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to know everyone, the bucket tilts towards you, and you get to pick a number because you either got a blank or a number. And whatever number you got, that's when you went up. If you got a blank, try next week.
Yep.
And so after you knew everybody, like Jimmy, you remember, I don't know if you went to Jimmy Pidd and all them, PJ. KD Brown. If you remember KD Brown, who I want to say right now, KD Brown saved a bunch of people's lives at Bally's Casino by jumping on a gunman.
Oh, Jesus.
No plaque, no nothing, no mention ever of how heroic this guy was in what he did. It bothered I to this day will still write to people trying to get some recognition. Bally's Casino needs to put a picture of him up, a plaque. It was when the gunman was in Bally's Casino and started shooting. And the gunman died and the one guy died, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one guy was K.D. Brown, Comedy Store comic. They didn't even do a rest in peace for him.
Oh, that is
but I mean, he got nothing. He got nothing, and he was such a great guy. I mean, a lot of us comics did memorials for him and things like that. But yeah, I mean, just not cool, man. He was a really great guy. Anyway, that said, yeah. So I went to the Comedy Store, got up, second time, got up, and after a while, got to know him. You get picked. Then I started working there as a door guy. Then I was seating, and when you get to seat the main room, that's where you actually make really good money selling booths. Because when you're seating people, you go, "Hey, I got you guys over here. I can seat you. We have booths for $50, $75 if you want a booth." And it wasn't really, you weren't really allowed to, but they didn't stop you. Sam Kinnison's the one who started doing it.
Wow.
And it just caught on. Yeah. It just caught on, and so we would sell booths.
I'm gonna thank him on his channel for jumping on the saving the lives of people by jumping on the gunman and losing his own life, being a hero.
Oh yeah.
I think there's some people that don't acknowledge the motherfuckers that really saved a lot of people. They probably saved that business too.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you this, and it's Bally's Casino. I mean, they could have done something for his mom or something. Huge. Yeah, they could have done something for his mom or something. And the funny fact is, he's from originally, I believe, if I'm correct, this many years ago, but I believe he's originally from South Central. He really grew up in the real life. And you can always tell the real, because they never ever looked like they did. He his whole thing was being a Republican black man. And
yeah,
he was like ridiculous that way. He would joke around that way and do crazy things. But he actually grew up in the real South Central life.
Yeah.
And went through it all.
Central, so I understand that. I knew how to get down before I was 6 years old. I understand.
Right. I lived in near New Hampshire and 112 for a minute. Oh, thank you for writing that. Yes. Rest in peace, K.D. Brown. But yeah, and I grew up, like I say, most of my time I grew up in Panorama City, Pacoima. Yeah.
What I was going to say is those people are fucking ridiculous, and that's how you know they're greedy. They should have paid for his whole funeral cost. They should have paid for everything.
But and he's only he's one of so many, and that's the problem, is the media decides when or who, and that's it's not really, it should be everyone, every single, every person shot by a cop, every person shot in crime, every person who does a heroic thing.
Right.
We know about it. We have social media. They just choose what works for their schedule at the time. And it was like Chris. Well, I don't want to get too political, but Christopher Price.
No, I don't mind, Burger. That's what you do. We got to tell people about the I Am Burger podcast. There's a lot of politics was on that.
Well, back in the day, well, you know what? I stopped doing that. I stopped doing it because people were getting so mad at me. I mean, like.
They probably hated me too, because I used to call in and give my very valuable or unvaluable opinion.
It was valuable, actually. It was very valuable. And yeah.
And then I would crack jokes because you guys would start getting tense. I don't know if you paid attention to the timing. You guys would start getting tense in there with your debate. I'll be like, shit, I got to call in right now, save my friend, because I could see you turning red. You would be almost the same color as your braids.
That is true. I would get so passionate. And that's why I realized it's in truth, it's all a joke because we don't control any of it, but the weird thing was Christopher Price, he was shot by a cop, barely any mention of him during the whole thing. But he was shot in the back, breaking up a domestic dispute. After the domestic dispute was over, the cop tased him and then shot him. He was a pillar of the community. He was an amazing person. He worked at, volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club, highly educated, everything else, just an incredible person, but not mentioned. And it was just like, whoa, and the cop still hasn't even gone to trial. And it's insane. They arrested the cop real quick and did a second-degree murder, but he still hasn't even gone to trial. And so it's like they did it to just do it and move on. It was like, whoa. And the whole community was in an outrage. Like everybody was like, what the hell? And we didn't really, a lot of people don't even know who he is. And if you get a chance, look him up, you know, make sure his life gets mentioned, because this was a pillar of the community.
Now we got this on camera. It was Bally's Casino. In case anybody wants to like and share these videos, make sure
KD Brown.
you tell
KD Brown.
F Bally's Casino in your captions.
or Bally's Casino, do the right thing. Because that's the one thing I've been really working on. Because that's the one thing I don't attack. Like nowadays, I don't go after anyone. I don't fight with anyone. I don't argue anymore. It's not helpful. It's, you know, I mean, like right now, I just had my credit hacked. Apparently, like as long as you've known me, other than the truck I just recently owned, have you ever known me to own a car?
No.
I've never, right. But apparently I bought a car a few years back, and it's a charge off on my credit. I've seen
you get out of the back of some nice ass things. A girl had questions at one point, like, how the fuck you get here? How did you get this?
When I had my motorcycle.
Car services, this is, well, I remember the motorcycle, but I've seen you get out of the back of the ride, man. We stop in the parking lot, like, wait, I'm not going home, burger here. Like, I got to turn around, get my bag. Wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, I always would, you know, get around, but I didn't own cars because of the parking. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
That
is beautiful. Oh, that's fantastic. You roll. I should do something. I'm an idiot. I'm just sitting here talking.
You're not an idiot.
I'm that person not doing shit.
No, you good. That's what you're supposed to do. You were the guest.
But yeah, and so my credit got messed up. I didn't even know I had bad credit. So I'm trying to move to Santa Clarita. By the way, if anyone has a place in Santa Clarita, money isn't my problem. My problem is my credit is now crap, and I didn't know it because I don't use credit. And so I'm fighting the things now and getting them slowly removed, but it's going to take a while. And I gave notice at my place, and my daughter's already started school up there. And so now I'm like, and so nobody will rent to me, even though I'm like, I'll pay like 6 months in advance. Like I'll do all these things. They're like, no, your credit. I'm like, are you like, it wasn't even me. We know people get their credit screwed up all the time. Why are you acting like this doesn't happen? You know, and it's like, you know, I was saying, you always see the posters like help teachers, you know, teachers are great. Then you also see, you know, Black Lives Matter. We have to help young Black kids and this and that. Well, I'm a teacher with a half Jewish, half Black kid, and there hasn't been a drop of help to get me a house, you know, to get me some help in that way. And like I say, I'm not asking for money, but if anyone does know, by the way, on a more, you do know anyone in Santa Clarita Valley that has a condo, apartment, house for rent, looking about $2,500 or less, 1 or 2 bedrooms at this point, fine, and whatever. But anyway, that aside, let me do the Bally's.
Hell yeah, burger.
But and so
how far you've come on your journey, you know what I'm saying? In my eyes, though, because I followed you on most of your journey, we've been friends a long time. You know what I'm saying? I would fan out on purpose to make the other girls run to you like, it's Burger, you know Burger, it's Burger. So that's my friend. And I really love you. And I'm very proud of the person you are, the person you've been, the person you have become. Everything that you've been through made you a great individual. And I really think that you should have been, big and famous already. I think you should have been a major star. You really deserve some type of a showcase or a special somewhere. Come on, Netflix, pick up Burger.
Well, I mean, like I say, I did it. I'm gonna 100% honest is I did this to myself. People wanted to help me. I mean, Bobby Lee was offering me help. All these people wanted to take me on the road, wanted to do this, wanted to do that. I had to call them out. I had to stop them from being wrong. I had to call them out for the things they'd say, for the way they'd act. When, you know, you take like a Tony Hinchcliffe who didn't know anyone. He did everything the right way in the sense of he went along with what was going on. He got up there, you know, he worked, he didn't have any ends. You know, he didn't, you know, but he shut his mouth and he went along and he hung out with the right people. You know, besides people like you and a bunch of other people that are, you know, like Talmo, rest in peace, Jonathan David, people like that, you know, really good people, Adam Fernberg, I always say his name wrong, Adam Fernberg, people like that, you know, just that have been there and been amazing, like that. But other than that, I would hang out with the other people that they wouldn't let in.
Yeah.
Because I always felt for those people. That's the empath in me. I always felt like, how do you disclude people or make them feel less than? How do you want to have your separate little thing, even though they wanted me to be part of their separate little thing? I was like, no, I'm here for everyone. Well, everyone's not there for you either. Live your life. Like Cat Williams is a great example. Cat Williams has called out everyone. And yes, his career's kind of been fucked. That dude already got enough residual money and enough money. He don't need to do shit ever. I know.
But I saw what was done to him. I saw that. And I mean, people really walking around acting like the man crazy. That man ain't crazy.
I was at the Comedy Store the day he supposedly shot it up. He didn't shoot shit up. He was being loud. That was it. He didn't shoot anything. He didn't shoot a gun. There was no gun. And from what I heard is the thing in Target was someone was like, yeah, do this. We're going to film it. So he just did it. And then they filmed it and ratted him. It was someone in his own camp type of thing. Then when they said he fought that kid, from my understanding, that was all a joke.
That little boy swung on him first. He didn't learn a lesson. I'm sorry. I'm not biased towards him either. I mean, I've seen when he's wrong too, but come on, that right there was some bullshit.
And Cat, to me, was one of the funniest dudes ever, and a really nice dude too. But I'll tell you, is he told us, I probably should, well, you know what? I don't know that I should even share that. But all I'll say is Cat said exactly what was going to happen.
Go ahead, I'll just let it loose.
I mean, all I'll tell you is
my viewers, I was spilling tea today.
We were on the group. We were in a big group at the Comedy Store, and he basically said what was going to happen because he wouldn't do a certain thing. So he said he wouldn't do a certain thing that they were trying to do to black men. He wouldn't be a part of it. He wouldn't do it.
He wasn't wearing that damn dress. He was not putting on that goddamn dress.
And now he told it. He goes, they already told me they're going to ruin my career.
Cat Williams. I really do know. And I appreciate him for that because, I mean, Kevin Hart said he wouldn't put on a dress. I look up, this fool got on a goddamn dress and a tiara. Shaq didn't put on a dress. You'd be.
It goes back to Milton Berle, Bob Hope. They all had to wear dresses. It's a weird, whatever it is. And you know what? I should have shut my fucking mouth and put on Tom
Hanks put on a dress.
But what Cat did was he got big enough. So he's famous enough. He can still work. He's famous enough.
The thing is, though, about Tom Hanks, because he's also worn a dress. People forget about Bosom Buddies. People forgot about that TV show. Well, a lot of people, it comes and it passes and it goes, and they think it's just going to be a thing that people forget. But for a lot of us, like a lot of the black comedy, especially, is so popular. You know what I'm saying? It's so stigmatic. And then when you see them in a dress, it hurts. It hurts. And and for black women, we already unprotected. We already got a big stigma around us. Everybody thinks we're angry. So when we see them portray us the way they portray us, it's like this what we do for y'all. This is why you don't fuck with us. This is why you go to the other side. This is why you don't want to date us. Is this what you think all black women are? Everybody is different.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, and that's like, I don't know how, like, nobody in the world can argue that the hardest thing to be across the board is a black woman in any country. Around the world,
in any business, in any kind of fascinated facility that you would think of, the doctor's office, everywhere. Yep. They had me in there for an hour the other day, and I'm watching somebody of a lighter hue come in 20 minutes after me and get seen first.
And you know what? And I don't even doubt it. And you know what I'll tell you, funny enough, is people, unless they've hung out with me, I get the weirdest reactions from people that, like, they think I'm going to steal. They think I'm going to do this. They think I'm, all these things forever. Now I don't get it as much anymore because I'm looking more my age. But before, I would feel like,
they thought you was a heathen.
Oh, you know how many people have told me, man, when I first met you, I thought you were going to be racist and this and that. Like, oh, did you prejudge that I was going to be a prejudger? A few people ever get that. I just told me, like, you prejudged me?
When I first met you, you came to the club and did a show. I walked up on you like, hey, I'm funny too. I mean, I know I'm in here in a bikini, but I'm funny too. And then you like looked at me. I was like, let me get you a drink. So we went to the bar and I sat, a stripper, bought you a drink and sat there and made your ass laugh all night. And then Heather came up like, this is my friend. This is my friend. Like, you guys should click. She's funny. She sings. She does this and that. And you and I have been like this ever since.
I mean, I think it was Sunny's, right?
Uh-huh.
Was it Sunny's or?
Girls don't do that. I bought you a drink. I was like, come on, let me buy you a drink.
I remember that, funny enough. And yeah, I mean, you know what's wild is first of all, I used to love doing those shows. They were the best. And, you know, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is that within comedy, within everything we do, there's all these things you have to go through. Well, that's what I say is like, you know, I was always raised, you stand up for right, you do. And, you know, without realizing this industry is a lot different. And that's why I say there's people who've, you know, spoken their mind, but they got famous first. I was calling everybody out who could help me. Like I said, Pauly Shore, you know, who.
Whitney don't know she's famous either. I talked to her a couple of years ago and I was like, you know, you're famous. She was like, no, I'm not. I'm like, girl, shut up.
I mean, honestly, like I would love to. I mean, you know what? The way I'm going about it now is I'm trying to shut my fucking mouth except on the stage. I'll say whatever I want on stage.
But
when I come off, you know, or in an interview, I'll speak my mind. You know, it's funny because I was saying, because I did a joke and it's like, you know, my daughter got mad at me. But what I said was, I said, you know, my oldest daughter came out to me as bisexual. And I told her, I go, I'm really disappointed. I told her, I said, I'd really hoped you'd be a lesbian. I go, but you know, you're halfway there, so we have hope. I go, but what's funny is my daughter is bisexual, but she's never been with a woman.
She's bi-curious.
Well, I said she's bisexual. She's never been with a woman, but she's a white girl who goes to Syracuse and needed a story. You know, what else was she going to be? All she had was being either bisexual or a lesbian, but she still wanted to date guys. And then I go, what's funny is my son goes to an art school. He wants to be a lawyer and pretends he's straight. Like, you're going to an art school to be a lawyer? You're not straight. I go, first of all, you can't be straight. It's genetic. And so what I said, what I was talking about though, is I said, you know, it's funny because personally, like for me, I'm 100% straight heterosexual. But a lot of guys I have sex with are gay. And it doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
And I was saying that, you know, and some people get like, wait, what's he saying? Like, no, I just said, you know, a lot of the guys I have sex with are gay.
But, I mean, that is a wild logic.
Well, because what I said was because, you know, if you're giving it, it's not gay. Not true. Totally gay. But, you know, like a lot of guys will say that, well, if you're the top, it's not gay. Not true at all. Just stop it. That's what I'm saying. It's like when people are like, I'm straight.
All you have to do is be attracted to the opposite sex. And there's nothing wrong with that either.
Well, my thing is this, yeah. As humans, we're either sexual or we're not.
They technicalizing everything. Shit. I mean, I understand that there are people that were born men that are now women, but you're not female. So you can't be like, hey, I'm gender fluid. Gender is a fact. It's a basis. It's something that you're born with between your legs. It just is what it is. You can't.
Well, my thing on that is what I said was I truly respect. Like if you tell me you're Sheila,
you have periods. If you don't know that experience, you're not a female. You can be a woman all you want. And I'm sorry, that's my opinion. Please don't at me.
No. Well, you know what I'll tell you is and it's a bit I do, but it was a true thought, was simply that I said, if you tell me you're a woman, you're a woman. Like you tell me, you know, you tell me you're Sheila, and I knew you as Frank yesterday. You're Sheila to me. Not my business. But let's not say you're a woman or a female because you don't want to be a female. You're not dressing in Keds and mom jeans. You know, you're not taking kids to soccer practice. You're not a soccer mom. You're not a female. I go, what men want to be a lot of times is they want to be slutty or sexy. And like, if you look at me right now, like I always say, I'm transgender. I just do it like a butch lesbian, very comfortable. But I said, if you look at me like right now, and if I walked up to a guy or a girl, like if I walked up to a guy and I'm like, hey, buddy, how about throwing my ankles over my ears and pounding me? Not sexy. Not sexy.
My credit needs me to be transracial.
Well, if I put on a wig,
for like
if I do makeup and I put on a wig and I wear heels, I always say, like, you're not trying to be a woman. You're wearing 9-inch heels with a miniskirt showing your neck. You want to be a slut? It's fine. Just say it. There's nothing wrong with it. You can't be sexy as a man, but if you dress up like a woman, you could be like, hey, baby, and you look hot and, to you, and you feel made up. I get it. But I go, the problem is like all these affluent white men started becoming transgender. Right. And then all of a sudden transgender rights jumped, civil rights jumped female rights, especially they jumped female rights like boom. So the transgender rights jumped the female rights right away, like boom, you're getting all these transgender rights. Meanwhile, women still don't have rights. And I said, people don't get it. In this country, if you're a white man with money, you get a lot of stuff. If you're a white man with money and tits, you get everything. And that's what happened, I mean, you got Bruce Jenner out there. Bruce Jenner became transgender. All of a sudden, the rights were flying in. But again, let me just say, I have nothing but respect for the transgender community. We're all people. I truly, like I said, I don't accept all people because it's not my right to accept or not accept. Fuck me. I'm not okay with people because who cares about my own? I think every human should be who they are without hurting anyone else or taking away anyone else's right to be. Period. And I just believe that for me, I should be able to be who I want to be. And I think everyone else should also have, be whatever they want to do.
Sensitive though, you can barely say anything. You can't, you can't say anything. You can't call somebody something, even if you are that yourself.
It's gotten really wild now. And like I was joking with my daughter, I said, you're a black Jew. You could kick puppies and no one can say shit. Like you're a female black Jew. You could literally, you could flip off the Pope and people will be like, hey, how cute. And then, I say, what time is it? And they go, what did he just say? What did he say? And I'm like, what time is it? I actually, funny enough, because after that Kramer thing, I was doing a show, and I'll never forget this. The show was in Canoga Park, Webbers. So the crowd was all pretty much Latin and black for the show. It was like a rap comedy show.
Okay.
So I'm opening up. These two, they looked like they were all Latin, but apparently they were mixed, but these all tatted up. And I get on stage, and the one guy goes, man, he goes, you better not say the N-word. I go, bro, first of all, with everything going on, and I got a 6-foot-tall black wife, I go, I don't even like saying neighbor. And then everyone cracked up, and I was fine, and it went on. But it was just, there was so much tension. I've just, to me, there's argument.
I've been in a room when you got on stage, and the room got silent. And the funniest thing, I think I might have been the first one to laugh. They were quiet as hell. Nobody did nothing. So you just stood there with the mic and looked at them for a second. You paused. It was like a long pause. And you didn't talk until somebody laughed. And I just couldn't help because the look on your face, I was dying laughing. And I think Pierre was with me. I might have been with him or somebody else. And I was I was like, this is what I want to be. Do you see how he just changed everything? He didn't have to say a word. They already laughing because you were just looking at him and I could see it crying what the fuck do I want to say to these motherfuckers? It was why y'all looking at me like that? So I'm gonna look back at you. I was dying. That was the funniest thing ever.
My new thing is I always if a crowd gets silent or something, I go, you know what? That's fine. You guys make your choices. That's no problem.
You helped me so much with this comedy thing. I'm telling you, I didn't believe you when I walked up to you that day, and I was like, hey, I'm funny too. Put me on. You was like, you got to do open mics. I got you. You started telling me about places, and I'd be like, I might have to catch the bus. He was like, I catch the bus too. I'll meet you out at this door over here. I was
Thank you so much.
I did not want to go in that building. I did not want to go in there. I was so scared because I look up, I get there and I'm like, it's a whole bunch of white and Asian people. And how are they gonna even relate to me to understand my jokes?
Oh, they did. No, you've been funny from day one. You've been so funny from day one. I remember that.
I killed. Yeah, because I was about to piss my pants because nobody showed. Everybody from the club said, "Yeah, we coming. We're gonna come." Nobody showed up. It was just basically me and you there, and like a cousin of mine or something. And I was just like, "You like nerves are normal. Like, what are you doing? This is what you do. Just go do what you do."
But it does. It jumps your stomach a lot at first, and then you get used to it, and then you're just like, whatever.
Few times, like I mean, I don't remember the last time I had stage fright to grab a microphone and sing. I could do that easy, but still, sometimes if I know I gotta go tell jokes and I'm trying to read the room and I'm looking at the crowd, the demographic is a little different than I expected to be. That is like
it gets scary. I mean, it can. I'm doing a benefit for an NA benefit. Convention or an NA convention, which is Narcotics Anonymous. I'm not that I'm against. I love the organization. They save lives. They're amazing, incredible. I so support what they do. I'm not a part of NA, so I don't want to pretend I am.
No, I've been a couple of those. My aunt's a drug counselor for almost 30 years now, so I grew up around that. The old keep it simple, stupid. All that.
They're amazing. Yeah, they save so many lives. And I respect them so much. I literally was gonna go into a detox or something because I thought I was becoming an alcoholic, and I couldn't find any help. And in the meantime, I just stopped drinking, and that was like months ago, and I haven't drank since. And so what I decided was I was going to take some months off, because if I could just take months off, obviously, then it might not be my problem. It was more my Band-Aid, and bored with the pandemic. And so what I've been getting, funny enough, was the mental health help to realize so many things about me. Like with my ex, like I say, my first ex, I've apologized so many times.
Right.
But what I would say is, I even said it a while back. I go, it's funny. She didn't apologize to me for all the stuff she did after we got divorced. But then I realized that was never her. She never did that while we were married or anything, or before we were married.
Some people don't have that in them.
I made her so mad that when we got divorced, and it was just so much on her, she was really mad at first. So she would do little things or little snide things and this and that weren't really cool. We were still civil, but she would do shit that would just, we'd kind of argue back and forth.
Mystical and I have been on this journey together. We watched someone try to ruin a particular celebrity's life. And when it came down, because the lady got sued, she owes a lot of damn money. And when it came down to it, and we thought she was going to make a retraction statement. Like, she scheduled this whole live, got everybody going to go look. This bitch didn't hold herself accountable at all for once. Not nothing, no apology, not nothing. She's still trying to make it seem like it's the other people's fault. So there is a lot of people that just don't have that in them, I guess.
Well, and that was, yeah.
Can't apologize or admit they were wrong. I can't say that that's necessarily narcissism. Look at me. I'm here on the camera trying to look cute for y'all. I'm a big ass narcissist. Okay. But I can admit when I'm wrong. And I can say I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do my best to try to make it up. I'm not just going to say, oh, I'm sorry, just those damn words, because words don't mean nothing. But I actually try to make up for what the hell I did wrong.
And even explain to them what you did wrong. Like, you even let them know what you did wrong.
That I actually understand what the fuck I did, and I really didn't mean to do that shit. But here I am apologizing. Please take me back. Please take me back. Please take me back.
But what they do is when they're wrong, they just go, okay, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, and I realized though, but when it came to staying at your job or making sure that everything was paid on time, like calculating or doing taxes, whatever it be, she did that and I sucked at it. And I started to realize that I expected her to be my good and her good.
Right.
But she can only be her good, and it's not in her to admit she's wrong. And so I don't even ask. But on top of which, I realized all the things she did after we got divorced, my first wife, were reactions to everything I did the whole marriage.
Right.
And so I don't even want an apology. I don't ask for one or anything, because I'm asking for an apology that she got mad. I kept hitting. I didn't hit her, by the way. I never hit her. But I'm using the example that it would be like me punching her and then her finally punching me back and me apologizing for punching her, but expecting her
to apologize.
For reacting.
You dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
You should have
reacting.
fucking hit her.
Yeah, and I expect her to apologize for reacting to everything I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, my apology is the apology because I'm the one who did all that and made it all happen. I was the
actor. I think, and it's not even
and
about
thank you,
like the
Miss
tit for tat thing. I think I'm trying to learn, but I'm still struggling with the fact that people ain't like me. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's like me. I can't expect it. Like if I'm showing love and I share my people's stuff, I've made ads for people, do voiceovers, share all their business. I know you see my timeline. Like, what is she talking about? Mm-hmm. Sharing people's business, sharing people's this, sharing people's that. And I realize not one soul ever shares my post. Not one soul says, hey, this is my friend. Look at her. She's good. She's interviewing somebody. Nobody does that for me. I had to realize, like, fuck it, I can't get mad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not like me. I'm just going to be me and do it for myself.
That's what I finally realized. That is so smart because that's what I finally realized is I'm going to be the me I want to be. Unapologetically, the me I want to be. What I'm not going to do is attack people. What I'm not going to do is go after people. What I'm not going to do is get up in their shit. What I'm not going to do is expect other people to do anything except be them. And I'm going to appreciate what's great about them. And I'm going to be me. And there's a book I read called Tuesdays with Morrie.
Right.
Great book because this old guy didn't fuck with nobody, wasn't a dick or anything, but he was also unapologetically him. The way he felt, the things he, everything he thought. Mm-hmm. You weren't going to change him. You weren't going to get him mad. He was just going to be him and enjoy his life and have a great time and see the beauty in life. Even when there's no beauty almost to see, he'll find what is beautiful and, or create beauty. And that book really inspired me because then I realized like, yeah, I like being a good person. I like helping. Like you said, when you came up and I was nice, that's how I like to be. I was telling myself, I got to stop doing that. Fuck people. No one does it for me. No one's there for me. But wait, they're not me. I'm me. I like who I am. And I'm going to keep on being me because that's who I like to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy being angry all the time and being bitter. And I was becoming really angry, really bitter. I had a friend, I always joke. I had a friend, I don't like to say names, Jose. I don't know if you remember Jose Barrientos. So we were super close, I thought. Like, I thought we were really close. Granted that I kind of went off the deep end on things, but he was one of the people that was like ride or die, eat together, die together. Well, I went through a lot and I kind of went off the deep end. So he's sort of written me off and that kind of sucks, but that happens. You have to accept that. You have to accept that. So I'm not like,
have to accept that there are some people in our life that are here thick and through from the beginning to the end, and it's meant to be that way. But there are some people that come in our life for a certain amount of time to do what they did during that certain amount of time. If they disappear or you stretch apart, it's sometimes meant to be that way. That is just the way life is. That's our journey. That's that's our fate.
Well, and that's the thing. And like there's people I reached out to that, I did kind of go off on, because I felt like they didn't return the favor whatsoever, really. Like I gave them meals, they gave me scraps and type of thing. Like I took them on like that, but I became so bitter about it. And I realized, I just like who I am. But that's what I said is, he was one of the people that I reached out to that didn't reach back, and that was fine. That's his choice, and I respect that. It did hurt my feelings because, again, he credited me with so much of his career, and he credited me to be like his brother, and that happens. But I realized that sometimes that happens in life, and you have to just go on being you and not be resentful and not be bitter and not call them out. Not be mad about it. Everyone's got to make their choices and be who they want, who they are. And I respect that. And I'm like, fine, and that's what I say.
I'm telling you, people will come up and forget who held the ladder. That's why I'm still here and I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, it's very true. And I realize though, because that will do things. And I've learned that is I've stepped back on jumping up and offering stuff. I've stepped back on my opinion. I've stepped back on my 2 cents, my anything, my advice. I've totally reeled it in. And my sister gave me a great point. Funny, I didn't talk to my mom, my sisters, or my brother for like 15 years. I'm now talking to my brother, my sister, my younger sister, Debbie, and my mom.
That's
I haven't talked to my
great.
older sister or my younger.
I can't clap with my hand, but this is my applause. I'm proud of you. That is beautiful. I'm happy for all of y'all. I'm happy for all because you remember I fell out with my family for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. I fell out with my whole family. I blocked everybody on Facebook. I'm not about to be treated like the red thing around the baloney. You got me fucked up. So everything's better. Now people have adjusted. They understand I'm an adult. I'm going to make my own decisions. I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. Nobody's paying my bills. Nobody pays for my doctor's insurance or nothing like that. So,
and for me, they just stopped. Okay.
For me, it's because I'm always the one quick to run. Oh, you need me? Okay, auntie. Okay, mama. Okay, this person. Okay, I'm there. I'm there like that. I don't have nobody like that for me, but I broke my foot helping people move. I have hurt myself doing things for people, struggled, lost money, lost opportunities, lost that Disney contract. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, though. That's what sucks. And let me ask you this.
Family orientated.
Let me ask you this.
Shoot.
Just a thought, because I love you. And it was something that was taught to me. What if you step back a little and love everybody and appreciate them and put all that great energy solely into your tight circle of those who are doing that for you already, and you're doing it for them. And when you feel that immediate need to go jump in and help someone or to bring them along or, this and that, think, okay, I got to take care of me.
Yep.
Oh, I got to get me taken care of. I got to get things done for me. And that's like where I'm at right now. I'm like, okay, I have to fix my life, my everything. I'm trying to do a rebirth into comedy. I'm not apologizing to people for saying what was true. I'm just not going to say that shit anymore. I'm not going to be up in people's lives. I shouldn't have said it because it wasn't my business per se. I didn't need to be all up in their life, call people out for who their family is, why they're in comedy, why they have easy careers and things like that. But I should have just put all that energy in, like Ian Edwards said, put all that energy into what I'm doing.
You absolutely.
And I would be famous.
My stupid self, I should have been doing what I'm already doing a long time ago, but I was too scared. Oh, that's going to hurt your career. You're never going to grow. You're never going to get anywhere. And then I'm like, everything was a secret. You remember I was in a club and nobody knew what I was doing. Nobody knew where I was. Maybe on Instagram or something like that. But I was just like really quiet as kept. I wouldn't show any pictures. And then I definitely wouldn't have had an OnlyFans and done nothing of the stuff that I've done on camera. But you know what? I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it now because I'm like, it sells. First off, it gets people interested. Some of them people, they back off when they find out, okay, she's using her brain here. She ain't just some basic bitch with ass and titties just with herself. I'm actually sitting up here telling the news topless. So they're like, that's not what I thought it was. So some people back off. And then I do have the majority of the people that appreciate that understand like, okay, she's an entertainer, but I just have to entertain somewhere. I'm one of those people that it's in my blood. It's the air I breathe. It's me blinking. I would die without a stage. I created my own stage. I walked right about the club. And when I realized what I could really do on the internet, I was like, the fuck, I'm out of here. Why am I here? I put a pole in my living room and dance on the camera. Fuck this. Fuck all this in-person shit. These managers don't give a fuck about me. I'm breaking my neck, making their money, selling their drinks, selling door money. I don't get a cut out of that. I barely get tipped. I'm hurting myself. I got the hell up out of there fast.
Because you got to, in this world, put yourself up there first. And, like I said, throughout everything, I always put my kids first, which I should. But it's like they say in an airplane, they tell you, put your oxygen mask on so you could help people who can't.
Yep.
But don't start helping them while you die of not breathing. Yeah. You're helped by, you got to take care of you so you can help others. And that's what I realized is I got to take care of me. I got to put myself in a position where I can be me. And not affect me so much.
Been called selfish by the people I lived selflessly for.
I mean, so many times
in my life. And I really I almost argued, like, how dare you? But it was just like an eye opener. Like, okay, I know exactly what kind of person you really are. I just didn't see it before. I would break my back for you. I'd still give my life for you, but I'm not about to stop everything I'm doing because you got something going on. Shit, I got something going on too. You ain't trying to help me.
I'm not pausing Game of Thrones for you at this point, you know?
For real.
I mean, you know, I just had a friend of mine.
It's a detrimental situation, and I really gotta go. It's like, and nobody else about to help. Oh man, I gotta go. That's a little bit different. But to just be calling me every time because you think I'm supposed to run to your aid every fucking 10 seconds.
But we feel bad if we don't.
The triple by myself. Who's running to me?
Okay. We feel bad if we don't do it. If we don't go there, we feel bad and guilty. I've learned that I don't need that. I don't need to feel that anymore. I need to live my, like I said, I just
feel it sometimes, but I just have to try to fight that feeling and just do.
That's what you do, and you go on and take care of your life. I just recently had a friend who, I was talking about something, and they're like, "Okay, let me call you in a little while." Day later, next day, and it was something really important, and it's like next day, the fuck. Then I get a call. Then I get a call. So I didn't. When I get a call and I'm doing something, so I didn't bother to answer where I might have before. I'm not gonna, like whatever's going on. They took days to even tell me. And then I get a text, and it's like, oh, sorry, I was dealing with my stuff. Okay, no worries. Like I'm not mad or anything. I get that. Everyone's busy. Me too. And they're right. We have to deal with our stuff. And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to deal with my stuff.
I'm going to do my stuff, but I'm not really ignoring or throwing nobody aside. If it's advice or something, I can answer the phone. I could swing you through something, walk you through something, talk you through some shit. But I am not about to come do your whole entire project for you.
Or even alter my path in the slightest to where in the past I would stop everything I was doing to help someone. No, I'm going to keep doing what I got to do. And if it fits in, beautiful at this point. But like my friend, it's like they're still my friend and they're still a great friend. But I know where certain things are at. And I'm not mad about that. I'm also on my path trying to get my place, trying to get me and my kids safe.
Right.
And what I was talking to them about
you have a whole entire legacy to protect.
And I mean, literally, and then see with my youngest daughter, she's got me, her brother and sister, and then my first ex-wife. Mm-hmm. That's all she's got in the world. Her, she's never even met my mom. And I know my sister Debbie.
That's about to change. That's about to change.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm glad about. That's that's on me and them, but not on her. But she's been talking to them and this and that, and that's great. But right now, she got my son, my daughter, me, and then my first ex. Right. Her mom hasn't called her in months. Her grandma out of nowhere is like, I need to see my baby. You reaching out first time in a month or so? No, you don't. And then, and it was like all this stuff. But her mom doesn't call her nothing. And so she's going through all that. And that, so my thing is I need to be there for 100%. And let me just state right now, when I caught COVID, she was with my first ex staying with my daughter. Mm-hmm. Well, because I'm planning on moving up there, they signed her up for school right now for me. But so she's here, now she's here back and we're going back and forth, like driving her. And everything else with my daughter, my oldest daughter, is doing all this. And it's just been crazy. But we have to deal with all this because, like the problems with my first ex.
Love that baby. That's a good big sister.
Oh, she's great. She's the best. And I have full custody of my daughter. The whole time I've offered my ex 50-50. But she just doesn't want to do that. But then she wants to go to court now and try and do anything, but it's like as though she's going to get anything not being there. So that's like the thing that in life, okay, so I got to deal with this. Now my court date got changed till the 21st, till April 1st, which is
at least one good thing though. She's not going to be with you and won't be versed in different cultures, in different lifestyles. She'll understand a lot of things. She won't be uncultured at all. It's better for her to be with you.
I'll tell you this.
Also, to have both of you guys and to learn back and forth from both sides, but she's gonna grow up beautifully.
And I'll tell you this is, it's funny because I'll constantly remind her, like things like, this and this and all this stuff, or she'll say something. I go, no. You need to understand what's gone on. Because that's what I mean is I might argue the other side with someone else because of their view on it. But, like that's what I'm saying. It's like if anyone in this country is saying that, in this world, is saying like black women aren't treated the worst, it's stupid. If anybody's saying per capita that black men aren't being shot at a crazy rate, that's stupid. Like people arguing facts that are pre-written, they weren't written to make a point.
People these days really try to make their own opinion fact, and they will argue you down over it. And it's like, dude, this is what you think. You can't make it real.
And then if you're arguing with this person and telling them like, hey, you're going way too far with this, then they'll tell you like, oh, you're a liberal lover, you're this. If you argue with this person telling them they're going too far, oh, you're a racist. No, I'm not. I'm thought by thought, issue by issue on everything. And that's what I say. But with my daughter, funny enough too, and I've been really lucky, people like Christine Taylor, and other people have jumped in and out of my daughter's life. They're not with me at all. Like that way we're friends, like my comedy family. But I've had a few black women in my comedy family reach out. And yes, you're totally right. It is pure ignorance. But reach out to me, and because I've reached out and I said, like, look, my daughter needs to have some good black female people to talk to because she doesn't have any in her life. Right. And I don't want her growing up without that contact. I don't ever want her, like when I would date women, like, okay, so if I was dating a black woman, like my ex, one of the things I asked her is like, have you ever dated a black man? She goes, yeah, I've dated black women that they'll tell me right off the bat, like, yeah, I don't date black men. Okay, well, I don't want to date you
because friends like that, but it makes me cringe. Like, how could you not, like, people are people.
There's white women that'll say the same thing. I don't date white men. Okay, first of all, you're stupid.
I can't say I've never dated a white man.
I date humans. I date humans.
Was a good one in bed too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I date human beings. I don't care. I used to do a joke because I actually had a friend. Funny enough, the guy was Costa Rican, but he was like, yeah, I could never be with a woman if she was with a black man. I go, are you fucking serious? I go, I don't give a shit the color of the person that was there before me. To be honest, I don't even care if they're still there. Make room. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, that's so ignorant. My sister's ex-husband, my younger sister's ex-husband, would bring that shit up all the time because my sister dated, like me, dated people of all different races. But he was only caught up on the black man that she dated. And I would tell him, why do you give a fuck? Like, she dated so many guys. You're worried about just that is so stupid.
That is, yeah.
It's such an ignorance. But, me and my sister were talking about that the other day. How back in the late 70s, early 80s, there were sayings and there were things that all of us said that we never even realized how freaking racist they were. Because as we got older, we just didn't say them. But as kids, they were the rhymes or the little riddles and the stuff like that. And because you heard other people saying them, you never thought of what was behind them.
Right.
Then as you got a little older, especially with us, like when busing started, when we moved and all this stuff, you realize there's a world of a world. It's like when people talk about like, oh, look at that guy. Like
see y'all on Facebook, please comment. We see you. Make a comment. We see you. We here.
And it's insane. And well, it's like when people say like, oh, that person's whitewashed. I've always hated that. Why would you put someone having to be white to like skateboard or to work on computers or do any? Why does that have to do with being white? First of all, let's keep shit real. Is they were doing computers in China and India way before us. So keeping it real. You want to call something, you say, oh, look at them being Pakistani. But the ignorance is, and that's what I mean. It's like it's so stupid, But again, whatever you argue, when you argue with extremists, when you're the middle, when you don't look at things from a certain perspective, but you look at things just individually, you'll piss off every extremist on all sides. And that's what I did a lot of, is made everybody who was an extremist and anybody who was 100% one way, would be pissed off by different things. They'd agree with me on this, then be pissed I said this. But it's like, yeah, I don't follow a pattern. And you're right, Mystique, totally. Mystical. God damn it, I got to get that right. Mystical. That's such a cool way to write it, too.
Yeah, it is.
But, yeah, and so, I mean, that, I think, oh, gosh, I've almost gone 2 hours. I'm ridiculous. Okay, I think this. I think as a world, I think as a world, we just need to stop thinking everything is so bad and so big that there's nothing we can do about it. Because the people like me, you, the people watching this show, the people out there watching, the majority of us are who decide things. We just don't know it. We go along with what they're telling us. And a lot of the people that are telling us are living in huge houses, easy lives, and they're on second generational wealth, and they're of all races, all genders, all sexual preferences. They all hang out together because they all got a ton of money. And like I said, you know, all these people, like, you know, Trump, Pelosi, all these people used to praise each other and hang out. Now all of a sudden they're warring each other. I'm like, this is a reality show. We are being fooled because it is just ridiculous, you know, what goes on. And
it's so dramatic.
We're caught in a reality show that we all need to just step aside and go, we're not playing anymore. You know, the majority of us not want people to have equal rights. Understand that equal rights is the only way, that there is no other possibility. Every human is a human. What, you know, no matter what, all humans are humans and should have all the same exact rights and all the same exact abilities and everything else. Nobody should be ruling us. The fact that we still have kings and queens, or the fact that we follow people, is insane. The fact that we care about rich families and what they're doing instead of why we're not all housed. I mean, I get it. There are people who want to be on the streets, but they are not the majority of them. Everybody can have a house, and it doesn't have to be a tiny home in a parking lot in North Hollywood. Why don't you just open up land, you know?
There's so much space out here. I've been traveling across the country. Well, you have too, but I mean, like, you know, you ride instead of
so much.
When you drive, you see so much empty space and so much land, and it's like, why the fuck are there so many people with no place to live? You're right.
Open up a quarter acre, lottery style. You put in what state you want to live in. In that state, you throw you throw your name in the lottery, and when it gets picked, you get to pick whatever quarter acre is left, or acre, whatever it be. We could give everybody that wants to build a place or whatever a quarter acre, an acre, and we would have still more than enough land.
Keep talking, Burger.
We would have more than enough land. We would have are you okay? We would have more than enough land, more than enough everything for everybody to have things. The fact that we can't grow vegetables in our front yards in cities, the fact that or in our backyard, we can't have like chickens, we can't have goats. It's ridiculous. Right. We should be able to have our own eggs. But they keep us so confused instead of us all realizing that in general, we're all wanting the same exact thing, which is freedom. And, you know, we just need to stop getting caught up in the fact that, oh, we hate each other and I hate you if you're this and I hate you if you're that.
Right.
Those are actors making us feel a certain way. We're human beings. Wherever we go, we hang out together and, oh, hey, puppy. Wherever we go.
Try to knock down the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've proven over and over that racism, chauvinism, homophobia, and all that stuff is a facade. Not that it doesn't happen. It totally happens. There's completely systematic oppression. That's all real.
Yeah.
But it's not a human feeling. You have to make up fake reasons so you can hate someone. You have to add anger so you can hate them. As humans, we don't naturally hate anyone. That's why if you took two people that were so opposite and so different, and you put them together. After a while, they start working together and befriending each other and or falling in love. You put two people of the same sex, opposite sex, whatever it be.
Right.
If they like that gender, eventually they're going to get romantic. Eventually they're going to become great friends. Racism, hatred, chauvinism, all that stuff. Like, my favorite is when people say that's reverse racism. Reverse racism is not racism. Reverse racism, the word itself means the opposite. So that means there was no racism. Racism is racism. You know, my daughter, I'll say things like, because when I told her that, like I said, baby, you could kick puppies. No one's going to say something. She goes, Dad, she goes, I can be as racist as anyone else. Anyone can be racist and da-da-da-da-da. I go, baby, let me explain something to you. I get what you're saying. I go, but there is a difference. But I go, I do get what you're saying. And she made me realize, the way she put it was pretty wild, because I'm with you. That's why I said it's prejudice, but it's all prejudging anyway. And that's what she said. It's all prejudging. I thought she's so fucking smart for 12. Like, she just sees things in such a way. It's wild. And it just makes me go, whoa, okay. But she was saying, like, if you're a race and you have a problem with another race, that's the definition of racism. And I'm like, okay, it is. She goes, then anyone can be racist against another race. Okay, fine. But the fact is, all this shit does exist. It does happen in this country for sure. The heaviest racism is against the black female than the black male. And I think people shouldn't be jumping on that bandwagon until that gets fixed. Like, we don't need the new black. They haven't fixed the problems that have gone on in the treatment of the original black. So we need to first get equal rights for black people, period. Then we need to make sure at the same time, equal rights for all women. Because in this country, those are the people who don't have it. Now, I agree that Latin people get treated prejudice, but they don't get that you don't want them to work for you, that you don't want them in your house, that you don't want this. They're the ones you're turning your business over to. Like, they're the ones like where some old white dude owned the business forever. His kids are assholes. They don't want to do it. All of a sudden, Latin dude now owns the business because he worked for him forever and he sells it out to him. And then that dude's kids works there. And then the next generation will be assholes and some other race, will jump in. But it's not that black people don't want to do that. It's not offered to them. And when people realize it's, again, like, I think people who are going after Asian people, I think that's horrible. Right. I also think it's odd they're not reporting that 98% of all those crimes was a black male going after an Asian person. But
that's not true.
They have an agenda that they want Asian hate to be up there with black hate, and it's not. Asian people have never.
They got a bill. We don't have a hate bill. They got a hate bill.
I mean, they literally. And the thing is, I've never known people that literally were like looking to not let Asian people work with them, not want Asian. I get the old guy who fought in World War II or Vietnam. He's a dick anyway. The fact is, though, the Asian people, Latin people have never been treated in this country like black people were treated. We've never had things taken from black people. Even Jewish people, as bad as we've been treated, as bad as Jewish people have been treated worldwide, we got reparations. I didn't, but some people got reparations for the Holocaust. That went down. There's organizations and things like that. I mean, again, it was one of the reasons, funny enough, when they started, I forget the exact order, but it was started by Jewish people for black people. The reason they started it is because Jewish people understood what it was like to have nobody have your back in a country. Because nobody wanted us here in America. That's why Jewish people pretended it was a religion and not a race. We're a bloodline of people. We're a race of people, like being African, like being Asian, or being Caucasian or Nordic. We're Jews. We're a bloodline, blood traceable. But in America, we let them pretend it was a religion because then they saw us as white, just religiously Jewish. It opened up doors. I think it's chicken shit, but whatever. But the fact is, in this country, I think we need to just stop. Like, this is just my opinion, so it's just my thought, but I think the first reparations should be money going into communities like South Central, communities in Detroit, communities in Chicago, communities in Wisconsin, all over the country.
True.
To first fix those cities, fix the housing, fix everything.
Yes.
Put it into the schools, fix the schools, do all this, but then fix the streets. Make it so people can't, make it so it's not productive to drug deal. Right now, they make it, they specify, you're going to drug deal here. They set that up. The government set that up where that is.
Oh, definitely.
And that's the thing. So reparations need to be that, first of all, hiring officers from within the community to police that community, not white, not black, not Asian, nothing. Any officers that grown up in each community, hire from within the community, train from within the community, but then put police officers at every park. Put police officers not in the school to monitor the kids, outside the school to protect the kids. Yeah, we don't need police officers in the school policing the kids. We need police officers outside the school policing the perimeter.
Protecting the children. Definitely.
And and I mean, and that's my opinion, is because I think, like with reparations, it's a weird thing because obviously my daughter would be entitled to reparations. I would then be the person in charge of those reparations, right? That's kind of weird. That's like giving me reparations for what happened to black people. So I don't know that there's a real way to do it without either excluding lots of black people that aren't fully black or, whatever, because there's not a lot of records. So, but the best way you could do it is to then change the entire communities. Because right now, if you go down to South Central, you wouldn't think that Black Lives Mattered. You wouldn't think anything ever changed. It's all the same way it's always been. Nothing got fixed.
You know what? Done about us killing each other and everything.
Yeah, well, why? I mean, there's no stories anymore, but it's all still going on. And the other thing is, like in Hollywood Boulevard, they had a big Black Lives Matter on the street. Why would you remove it? Why wouldn't you let it just wear out? Like, why wouldn't you leave it there until
they shouldn't let it even wear out? They should repaint that shit every time.
Well, I mean, meaning if they did it as a statement, though, for the time being, why would you not just let it be there like anything else that we've done? And over time, it might wear out. You might, yes, fix it. But if you didn't, okay. But to remove it, to do the work to remove it after the same people who put it there had it removed.
As a slap in the face. And
why remove it?
They really turn into an organization. It's really about money. It's not really about what they saying it's about. They don't give a damn if our lives don't matter to them, for real.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the top two people got busted for embezzlement.
Yep.
But the fact is, the actual movement was Black Lives Matter 2. The funny thing is, they somehow removed the 2 because I don't think people would have got mad enough, because the 2 was very explanatory. Because people would be like, oh, other lives matter. That's not what's being said. No one's saying other lives don't matter. They're saying Black Lives Matter also.
Yeah.
You care about all these other lives. We're not saying they don't matter. They do. They're taken care of. We're saying, how about us? Not me, but Black people are saying, how about us?
And I think they did it so that they could have a shorter acronym that nobody else owned, like BLM. But that is just...
Or they did it because it would piss people off a lot more than Black Lives Matter 2. Because 2 explained exactly what it was meant to be, saying in the past, forever, Black lives have not been equated equal to other lives. However, we need to...
people that think we're animals.
Do you know there's still people that believe Jews have horns and tails?
That's dumb as hell.
Right?
And what's crazy is the entire human race is a mammal. We're a fucking animal. All of us.
Yeah. There's people of all different races that believe that Jews should be exterminated to this day.
Still.
Yeah. And I mean, there's people that honestly,
there are people that think that they should purge the world of us, all of us, anybody of color, and just make it all white. The crazy thing was, there was a teacher who was saying that the reason Black people talk the way they do is something to do with their tongue. And I go, excuse me? I go, well, then
someone needs to go over to Nigeria and England and explain that to them, because they speak the Queen's English.
And not all Black people speak improper English. I mean,
not at all. It's I
talk comfortably amongst my people when I want to talk like this, but when it's time for me to speak eloquently and it's time, I turn that shit on easy.
Well, you know what a lot of people don't know?
Pick them over the phone.
What a lot of people don't know historically, fitting and acts, those were taught to slaves. That type of speaking was taught to slaves by white people. That's how white people, poor white people back then, that's how they talked. They did the acts. They did the fitting. They said, "How y'all doing? Hey, what's happening, man?" You know,
right? It people out when people come on with that accent, and they're like, "Oh, why they talking black?" Like, no, really, they probably some from a little stick town in the South, and that's how they sound.
That's how they sounded before there was ever slavery, before there was ever any real amount of Black people in this country. That's how the white people spoke. Now, the fact that the only people at that time that would teach Black people how to read were poor white women, poor white men. Because the poor white men would speak like that, they'd be like, "Let me ask you this. Let me, you know, we're fitting, we be fitting." Those were all white words told to Black people. That's why when you see Black people from England, or you see Black people from Nigeria, places like that learn English, their English is precise, it's pristine, it's beautiful.
There were white people in the cotton fields and working with the slaves, and they called them rednecks because their neck was red from being in the sun.
They don't even tell you that when the what was it, Bacon's Rebellion, I believe it was, which was Black and white people that were indentured servants, flipped out and killed a bunch of people. That's why that's what people don't understand. That's why they went to.
See, people don't realize the term redneck is totally misused these days. And of course it's derogatory, but it's totally misused. It came from those white people that was out there with us, being treated like slaves and getting whipped and being out there in the cotton field. They were red because they were in the sun.
Well, you know, and it's like a lot of people don't realize, you know what someone told me the other day is we were talking and it came up, you know, that the Ku Klux Klan was a Democratic party. They were Democrats.
It's the Republicans were Democrats and the Democrats were Republicans too.
Like no. That's what I'm saying. No, that's what a lot of people have tried to say, but no, not. The Democrats is the same party, the same exact party going all the way back that wanted slavery in the South. The Democrats were the same party, the same people that wanted, because people don't understand, Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. A lot of people don't know that. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Yes, he was.
The people who were against slavery were the Republicans. They didn't then become Democrats. No, the Democrats learned that they lost. When the Democrats lost, they went, "Oh no, never mind, and that's not us anymore." Now, the Republicans are ridiculous, but they didn't want slavery. They didn't want Black people here, but they didn't want slavery either. They did, you know, they weren't wonderful or magnanimous. They weren't worried about Black people. There were people who were fighting purely for Black people, white people that would fight purely for Black people because as humans they knew it was wrong. But the Republicans weren't doing it because of Black people. However, they didn't want slavery. They fought against slavery.
Okay.
The Democrats, it's all the same party. They carry on to today. You can trace people back, the same people who wanted slavery. I mean, you know, but they just went, "Oh, no, it switched." No, it didn't. But they said it did and went with it and pushed it hard enough. And, you know, the Republicans weren't looking for any minority vote at the time or anything. So they didn't fight back against it. They didn't care. They were just like, "Oh, whatever."
Because we weren't allowed to vote.
But so the rumor came out, or so it changed into that, "Oh, the Democrats became the Republicans." Nope. That was these Democrats all the way back that wanted slavery, that wanted all this stuff. And if you look at like
it's proven in a lot of these political parties, you can still tell by the bills and the things that they pass. But we got Democrats in office. We got a black vice president, and the agents got a hay bill before us. So I mean, it's.
I mean, you know, that was the most insane thing in the world. You know, like when Obama was president, he didn't make gay marriage legal. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? And You know, I mean, and that was like trippy to me. Like, come on, bro, seriously. Like, you did so many things should have happened right then.
Yeah.
So many things should have changed. So much. I mean, my God, so many things should have gone right for Black people in America at that moment. And it's yeah, but you have to, like, you know, that's what Shadow's saying is so right. The worst thing you could do is totally investigate and learn, because it's crushing. And then you piss off everyone because you know a real truth
And
that they want to live this lie and this group wants to live this lie. You know, they all want to pretend this and this. And it's just like, wow, yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even so much that the policies changed, it's that they realized the only way they're going to win votes is to do this, because their school policy stayed. The same Democrats wanted to continue segregation. Like, you know, Biden, and I don't care either way about Biden, but he did vote for segregation. He did on video make the statement that
I saw that.
he doesn't want his neighborhood becoming, he doesn't want his neighborhood becoming a jungle.
He was saying coloreds and all kind of other derogatory statements about the blacks. And I didn't see the video till after he was voted in as president. I was like,
and that's
oh my
one
God,
of many videos.
Office?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you know how
and
much
again,
my mother loves Joe Biden?
Well, I mean,
my mother loves Joe Biden. She's not going to listen to nothing I say about nobody, but
look at his bloodline. His bloodline isn't even red.
Because like, I was going to vote for Bernie Sanders. He was pissed
now,
off.
Bernie was kind of fun. Bernie I could get into. But yeah, with Biden, if you look at his whole family line, it's white all the way. And the only Black women that have been in that family were prostitutes that the son was on video with. But
I remember that.
But the son came out, you know, dropping N-words and saying stuff like this. And it was just like, oh my God, how is nobody, like, you know, Trump's an asshole, you know, a total narcissist and egotist and all that.
I feel like all politicians are the same at this point, but back in the day there was a big difference. I feel like they get when they turn that they go to lunch together, they meet with each other, they talk about policies in other places that's not on that damn constant CNN camera that's always running. That when you go on the internet, you just see it. That room is just empty, ain't nobody in there. They out doing side fucking.
I mean, look at what was it? Trump and the Clintons would spend Christmases together sometimes. He financially supported their whole thing. Their Clintons, Bill Clinton's. He gave a bunch of money to the Clintons.
There's people saying that Bush was related to Obama.
No, it's Dick Cheney is a blood relative to Obama.
Really?
Obama's mom is a German white woman. Yeah, Obama's mom is a.
But that's not unfair. I said at first I didn't believe any of it, but it's not unfathomable.
No, Obama admitted it. He said that they are relatives. He came out and said it, yeah, because he was asked about it in a press conference. And he said they were relatives, or they are relatives. But Clinton and the Bushes, I believe, are related somewhere. But there's a lot of relations in there that are insane. A lot of grooming, all this stuff. And that's what I mean is, it's like this. What all of us in this country need to look at is it getting better for any of us? No. And that's what we need to stop and realize. We like each other. We love each other. We sleep together. We hug together. We ride together. We laugh together. We don't care, but we're caught in this minority of people that have a ton of money that are deciding everything we do and are picking who gets to go where and who gets to do what. And we're fighting each other about which one of them are right. And they're all wrong. They're all wrong. They care about their money and their power. None of them have any of us to care about. And so that's the thing is, you know, I could only imagine that you think I deserve equal rights. By knowing you, I think you feel like I deserve equal rights.
Right.
I think, you know, I feel like me and you, everybody in this world should have the same rights. I think you feel the same way. Me and you are not the problem, but they could get us going on different issues like this or that, because, you know, I might not have knowledge here. I might have different experiences here, different experiences there. And, you know, and that's the thing is, It's realizing that we've all lived different lives, but so many of us don't hate, don't care, aren't involved. We love one another. We love people, and it's not dealing with those people that need to keep their power and need to create this insanity and need to create this where we shoot each other over Popeye's fucking chicken sandwiches or kill each other over some Pokemon card. Or we wait in line for 4 hours to get a new video game or a new shoe. We've got to stop that. We've got to be the change. We can't keep looking at people who make so much money that they live insane lives. Like they're going to care about us or want to change their life.
Yeah.
We have to turn to one another.
Dead on.
I'm going to leave it at that. And I want to say we got to love each other.
I want to thank you for being here and doing this interview with me because I see we've been here 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
We got agents and everybody. They was calling. I already know you got stuff to do.
I do have to get running, but thank you, man. This has been amazing.
Do me one quick favor and tell people what they might be able to look for from Burger.
Okay, so, I wasn't doing a lot of shows because I caught COVID and dealing with the pandemic and then, also being kind of banned everywhere. Hopefully, I'm going to be getting out there and doing a lot more comedy. Hopefully, I'm going to find a place in Santa Clarita that'll rent me a place. And
you'll be closer to me.
Yes. Oh, are you up in Santa Clarita or you're in?
Sylmar.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I used to live off of Astoria and Glen Oaks. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think what I got going on. I don't have a shitload. I'm going to be doing little shows, just keeping practice. I got the NA convention coming up in February. I have Witch's Brew. I'll be at Witch's Brew 4th or 10th. I'll put it on there. Witch's Brew is a cool show. If you've never done it, hit up Joanna Petrie. You can always catch me at a Ryan Talmo show. Okay. And let me think. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you could. Check me out on TikTok. That's where I do my single dad videos, talking to single parents. And remember, if you're a single parent, you're doing your best. Keep doing your best. Know they need you. Know they love you. And know they know that you're not perfect and you don't have to be. Just be good to them.
Thank you, Burger.
Thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
If you're a wing woman, you just want to throw me on stage, call your girl.
I will. As soon as I'm back on stage, you're coming.
All right.
And and actually send me a private message and remind me about this because I got something I'll talk to you about.
Okay, no problem.
So I might have something. So we'll talk right after. Everyone else, thank you. And check out her show. Anybody on my thing, check out her show. It's amazing. Too persuasive. She's amazing. Check her out. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Love you, Burger. Thanks.
Love you back. Bye.
All right, y'all. That was great. I had fun. We had to look. He dropped some jewels, and he had a very interesting journey as a comedian. And he ain't done yet. He's still on the road. So when I find out things about Burger and he's doing things that we can participate in and help with and go and support, I will definitely be letting everybody know. I want to thank everybody on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. And I also would like to thank and welcome our first female moderator, Mr. Girl, in the motherfucking building. She don't play though. She will smite you. She got a wrench and she will bop you with it. Love y'all. I'm too persuasive. And until Sunday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, I won't be back here unless I'm gaming. But we have an interview with rapper Columbo Black, a.k.a. Lucius V. Guggenheim, a.k.a. Fabian Bonaparte. I'm excited about that, and I hope to see you guys on Sunday. Peace.